hysterical too. They're like these like 30-second countdown stuff. So fun stuff. So ready? Let me get all coughs out now. Yeah. Oh yeah. Nice. So hello, folks. Welcome again to another edition of the Mind of Magnus. I love everyone who's messaging in. We have had some great factoids in for the hotline. This is the first episode of 2025, and I wanted to bring in someone who was extremely special to me, who I've been listening to for a while, who just makes me smile on so many different levels. So if you guys, I'm just going to get the ball rolling right now. We have my guest tonight is Noelle from the podcast Quite Unusual. Noelle, thanks for joining me on this show.
Hello, thank you. I am so excited to be your inaugural guest of the new year. I guess that's how we could say that.
Inaugural guest is pretty
number
good.
one. We're number one. Yeah.
I always try to find someone who kind of connects with me in a very special way for the first episode of the year. And you're a person that, aside from having an awesome podcast and just an amazing person to talk with, you have offered me my tarot readings sporadically through my life that have been so weirdly accurate that I wanted to have that happen as well. So at some point today, I think we're going to have you read a tarot reading for whatever the show, the year, the something else that way. Okay. But I want to offer people the chance to meet the Noelle from Quite Unusual podcast. So Noelle, you have a podcast. I want just to start this ball rolling in here. Describe to the wonderful listeners what the Quite Unusual podcast is.
Okay, so this is the first time in my life I've ever ridden solo. Usually I have my partner in pod, my roommate, my best friend, Nicole, sitting right next to me. So it's both of us. We record in a haunted attic. We just really talk about anything unusual. I mean, the name sort of says it all, Quite Unusual. We're fully research-based, a little bit of comedy because we think we're funny, of course. And we talk about just lots of different things. Like we do a bunch of cult episodes, some ghost stories. We love a conspiracy theory. We love a murder mystery. We love a paranormal activity, UFO phenomenon. Please don't get me started.
I love it. It's truly an amazing show. It's like paranormal true crime podcast. Also a bit of geography. It's my geography podcast. That's how
we are. We were rated the #1 geography podcast by Forbes magazine 4 years in a row.
As you guys can tell, it's an authentic show. It's one of the reasons why I love listening to the show. I've been listening to it for years. I don't even know how I got pointed to it, but I am so glad it did. It's just kind of, we have a Venn diagram of interesting friends that may have been the culprit there, but either way, it is, if you're a fan of like unsolved mysteries, that vibe of unsolved mysteries, but replace Robert Stack with two very talented, weird girls that you just want to hear talk more, listen to Quite Unusual. And you get it wherever your podcasts are found too, which is one of my favorite parts as well. But
a nice compliment. Can you actually call my mom and tell her that? Because she needs to hear it too. So thank you so much.
I very much will. I very, very much will. I'll text her right now. Like, hey, perfect. She may know me from the random weird guy from New York you may mention now and again. So.
I never call you the random weird guy.
Oh, good.
Weird guy.
Oh, good. That's perfect. But yeah, and people who know me will understand that you are a person that takes you deep dive. You take each episode to an extreme. You love deep diving. You try to find every piece of the background on it, even if it's slightly disjointed. You'll call it out. Be like, I also found this too. It may not fit exactly the narrative, but and those who have known me realize that I love a good deep dive. So I connect with you guys instantly where you're like, okay, this is going to be a 3-part series because I cannot pack all of X, Y, or Z into the nominal amount of time we have.
It's how so many of them go, or like I'll start researching one thing and then the episode we put out that week is on a completely other topic because I saw that some serial killer owned a lot of garden gnomes and I'm like, when did garden gnomes become a thing? And then I just start looking up gnomes and then I'm deep into the fae and I'm like, you know what? This week's about mermaids. How did I get there? BTK owned a garden gnome once. Like it's that ADHD tunnel that just takes you everywhere.
And that's, I mean, you definitely love connecting and deep diving. I mean, you're an inquisitive person. I think one of the reasons why we get along so well. Yeah. But so when did, your host, you've known for a while. Nick and Noelle have been friends for eons, right? Is that
we just figured this out earlier today. We have been friends this will be our 20th year of friendship.
20 years, 2 decades of friendship. Oh my God.
Yeah, that makes me feel so old.
But it's
It's
great if
so
you
I mean, doing anything for 20 years, I'm exhausted, but
imagine how she must feel. My God.
no.
So now, when did you start the podcast?
5 years ago.
5. Oh my gosh,
Yep,
congrats.
I think next month will be 5 years. It was a pandemic project. We got the idea to do it because it was actually Nicole's idea. And she's like, "You know how we just talk." This is such a, like, a douche bro thing to say. Like, this is like, you know how people are like, "Me and my friends are, like, the funniest people in the whole wide world. Like, we should just record it Joe Rogan style and, like, put it out and profit." First of all, that's not how podcasts work. You work your ass off, and then you get almost no rewards, and everyone thinks that you're weird and doesn't understand your job.
Truth.
So yes,
100%. I seconded all of that right there. Yes.
thank you. So that's how it started. Nicole's like, we talk about, you know, if we would cannibalize each other on a desert island anyways, just for fun, we should be recording this. So we recorded 1 episode in person in my attic, which is now our studio, and our attic because 'cause we're roommates now. So we did that at the beginning of 2020, and then lockdown immediately hit, and it sort of saved our lives because we had something to do, we had connection, we weren't allowed to go anywhere, so we would see each other much like I'm seeing you on a little tiny screen. And we would talk for, like, hours on end, but our episodes were, like, 40 minutes.
Hmm. That's the thing with editing. You can, it's 2 to 3 times amount of time editing down shows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's funny, though, because the longer we've been doing it, the less we're at it. We're like, "Fuck it, keep it in." Oh, can I swear?
You can swear all you want. That's the reason I love podcasts. I will ask you what your favorite swear word is in a little bit, probably.
Okay,
That's
perfect.
why I did radio for eons, and I hated
Uh-huh.
it being like, "Gosh darn it," when the word "motherfucker" is exactly what I wanna say to someone. So,
Yes. Also,
yeah.
it's just so, like, deeply ingrained in my vocabulary now.
Mhm.
It's horrible. Like, my brother has I have a little niece, a little nephew, and I have taught them so many swear words, and they're, like, 6 years old, and I get in so much trouble every time I see them. It's it's hard to not swear.
So I'm from New York, and New York City is so close that everyone in New York State uses the word "fuck" as a comma. So
Yeah,
I was painting a mural at a YMCA gym with children, and I was talking to the person, and I realized the woman and I, who are both running, are being like, "Yeah, we're fucking gonna do this. We're gonna fucking do that." Oh my gosh! And it's a freeing thing because I like a good story, and I hate having
mhm,
someone have to be like
mhm.
talking away like, and then well. And they have to pull themselves back from the moment to share like the proper wordage so they don't get in trouble. No, man,
Yeah.
around here, yeah, I had a guy on the show Forever Go Back, and I don't think we actually put the on the podcast. Maybe one of those, but it doesn't matter. But we did radios together, so he was
Mhm.
like, "This is the first time we've ever recorded where we can swear together, right?" I was like, "Yeah," and he just started swearing. He's like, "Good," and he just unleashed every swear word he could think of, and he was like, "That was cathartic." I was like, "It was."
Wow.
It really just it actually I did an audio recording and sent him a little an ornament with
Uh-huh.
the audio of him just swearing for Christmas 2 years back. It was just this cute little like angel, and he pushed it, and it was him just like, "Goddamn motherfucking," and it was yeah. He goes, "This is the best gift I could have ever received." So yeah, it was like a little angel with a microphone. So
That's so
I
cute.
yeah, I
Yeah,
love
you're the only person that's ever done that. Otherwise, it's like, "Oh, grandma, I love you so much." And
exactly.
and then it's just like, "Cock mouth, motherfucking bitch, cunt, slut,"
Hmm. Exactly
whatever.
those words. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh man, oh man. So you've been doing this for a while now,
Mhm.
and I have truly enjoyed it. But you also you mentioned before recording, you also have a Patreon backing too, right? You have a bunch of followers and people that enjoy this way.
We do, we do. We have a Patreon. It's a lot of fun. We do this one series that's maybe my favorite thing in the world. We haven't done it in a minute, but it's called Midwest Fancy,
Ooh.
Midwest Classy. I don't even know anymore. I think it's Midwest oh my gosh, this is embarrassing. It's called something that's interesting and funny, where we go to, like, Midwest classy restaurants. So we've gone to, like, Applebee's or, like, Chili's or whatever, and then we eat all the food. We take the sampling from the Garden of Eden that is
Ooh.
Chili's, and we report back on it, and then we rate it from the classic Midwest. Well, you're from the East Coast, so I don't know if you'll get this. Well, you're from Rochester though, so you're kind of out. You're out of the
We're
city.
close. Yeah. No. I am like as far like I'm almost Midwest New Yorker. It's a weird mix. So
You have Midwest energy as a compliment, okay? It's a good thing. It's like you
put that
wanna
on my
make sure
resume.
that your friends got home safe, like, that's Midwest energy, you
Okay,
know?
no, that's
For
me.
sure.
Yeah.
So we rate it, is this fancy enough to go to, like, before prom?
Oh.
Could this be your mom's birthday? That's the fanciest, that's the highest tier. Could this be, I don't know, could you get engaged in this Applebee's? Who knows? So, we
I
do
love this.
we do very stupid stuff like that. We just I don't know, we just kinda mess around, we do some lives, it's a great time.
And I'm actually probably asking a better questioning about
Mhm,
the show and the background of the show because I think a lot of people don't realize what goes into it. Like for instance, like talking about Patreon,
mhm.
how much the role of the community and listeners play into the
Oh,
evolution
yeah.
of your show, right?
Yeah. The thing about podcasting that people don't understand, like, if you're not in this industry, is that you do it for free.
Mhm.
Like, you create we do hours and hours. We did a Jonestown series. I think it was, like, 5 or 6 episodes. We lived and breathed Jonestown. Like, I still, like, have dreams of the death tapes, and that was years ago because we listened to them so many times.
Hmm.
We did probably a cumulative, like, 78 hours of research. And then we put it out into the world and we said, "Here you go, everyone in the whole world. This is completely free." So, there's a lot of work that goes into podcasting, especially if it's research based.
Mhm.
So, we're so grateful for every single person that pays us to do this on the Patreon. We have quite a few people that just I mean, even like a dollar. For less than a dollar a day, you can support your local podcasters.
It's a bumper sticker we got to make for you right now.
For real though, it's really amazing to see, like, a community come together, and a lot of people have become friends, people have become business partners. It's really, really fun. We get to meet some people in the wild sometimes, that's really great.
Yeah, because you're doing events now. I see you're popping up doing different paracons and those sort of stuff, right?
Yeah, can I plug one?
Please do. I'm going to do it multiple times, and this
Okay.
show is all about plugging, making sure everyone's happy. So
Okay.
please plug away.
We have one it's not for a while, it's in June, I believe it's June 14th, I'll look up the date, but it's called Windy City Parafest, and it is in Chicago, in our hometown. And I'm so excited for it. We are hosting an 80s themed prom
Oh my gosh.
on the 12th of June,
Mhm.
and then we will be doing lectures. So it goes from the 12th to the 15th of June. It's gonna be amazing. There's so many cool people there. There's gonna be great events. I think there's like a movie watch along. There's I mean, prom. Who doesn't wanna go to prom, right?
Especially now that I know how to do it and how to live my life properly. Prom, I'll rule prom.
That's
Jesus.
right. If you need a date for prom, you let me know. We'll go.
I'm tempted. I was traveling last time you did for Halloween, you did an
Yeah,
event too this past
we
year, right?
we
Yeah.
did another prom.
Hey, keep a good theme. I love you guys look great in dresses and I prom's a fun time. So
It's really fun. We watched Michelle and Romy and Michelle's high school reunion to get ready for it. We gotta learn that dance. It's cinematic masterpiece. It's too good.
it truly is. My gosh. So, I pinged some friends of mine. I like because I actually have some Patreon backers myself. Not a whole lot, but I just have fun doing these sort of things. And
Mhm.
I'll send a call out to them, being like, "Hey, I have a guest coming on. If you don't know them, please listen ahead of time, but also ask for questions." So, I actually have some write-in questions for you as well for my guests. So
Oh,
for you. So at
let's
some
go,
point, I may
girl.
toss some questions at you as well because I think I have a couple new listeners from my Patreon backers because they had a kick out of it. This one, Gary's very excited about it. He has a couple questions.
That's very cool, and how do people find you on Patreon?
It's word of mouth. I have not figured out how to do Patreon properly because I'm actually not great at finding things. So at asking for money, I'm actually really horrible at it. So I always feel like, oh my gosh, you don't have to give money to me. I
I know
do
you're
this for
cool.
oh my god. So no,
You're cool.
I happen to have just a handful of people that been nice enough to follow. I have literally a handful. When I say a handful, it is literally just a handful of people that because I do random other stuff that's not just podcasting for me. For those who, if your followers may listen to the show, I'm not just a podcaster. I do a bunch of other stuff. So, like I do like art drops. So people actually will donate
Mhm,
to me to donate to make sure I keep putting art around the cities and like putting stuff around to make people smile. So I do a
mhm.
lot of that sort of thing. So I have a lot of good Samaritans that also just happen to listen to my because when I introduce people they think I pick people that I want to share because for various reasons, and so they're like, oh, if you're suggesting a person to interview, I'm going to listen to them. So yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
Patreon is a very interesting pull. But I also get
that's
some great
Mind
questions.
of Magnus? Is
Mind
that what your Patreon is?
actually Magnus Apollo on my
Magnus?
Patreon.
Okay.
So I'll send you all the links for it if you want as well.
Please do, please do. We'll
Yeah.
share those for sure.
Yeah. And as an aside, this is actually as an aside now. If you any point in time, this is actually off recording. But if you see something you want to do, if you find something that you said you want to say it again, you can just let me know. I had so if you want to pause, like, oh no, let's edit that out. Just tell me right now, and as I have a timestamp, I'll edit stuff out too. So like
D
I'll cut this part out, just let you know. I was going to do that ahead of time, but I was very excited to see you. It's been so long, you know. So I forgot to give my whole. I have a preamble I give to every of my guests, being like, "Be yourself, be this." If you say something wrong, I had a friend of mine that she was very nervous. I'm like, if you say something you don't want,
Uh-huh.
yell loudly at the microphone because then I'll see it in the mic on the thing. So it's
Uh-huh.
like, oh my god, it was so sweet because eventually she was like, no, no, and she would like squeal. She's like, ah, and it was like this high pitched spike in the waveform I can see. So I read it anyway. But then she got in the habit of being very comfortable that she got nervous. She just would like yell, and that was her chance to clear her brain to say
Yeah,
something again. It was very sweet. So
that's
I'm
funny.
not worried with you, but I want to let you know that too. So
Yeah, no, I'm totally good. Like, if you wanna cut anything, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise, I will just spout stupid shit forever, and it can all stay in. I do not care.
one of us. I'm the exact same way. So
Yeah, unless I, like, accidentally say, like, my social security number, I think we're good.
which is again, I forgot. Can I say the
Oh,
number?
it's,
Yeah.
almost got me again.
Yeah. So this is I truly get a kick out of listening to you guys. You have a good dynamic just becoming friends for that long. But also you also have a one of the weirdest threads sometimes in a conversation, which makes you a great listen. Like
Thanks.
sometimes like, okay, we're talking about today, we're talking about, John Wayne Gacy, and we're going to talk blah, blah, blah. And no, it's like step one, step two, step 14, you'll come back to, but back to it. And then three other side
Mhm.
stories, and they all connect in the most magical of ways. So it that now it's one of those podcasts that when I say that out loud, people are like, oh, it sounds like maybe a taxing podcast. No. If you guys do not listen to the show, please listen because your threads are very much how my brain works, and I appreciate it on a magical level. Now, do you feel that having an outlet like a podcast is beneficial for this skill set you have? Is it? You feel like it's maybe of a detriment to your friends around you that you have this, or what do you feel like?
No, no, no. I first of all, thank you. That's a huge compliment because that is how conversations with us go.
Mhm.
Like, we were talking about something this morning because again, we're roommates, so we're just, like, 24 hours locked in these holding cells together, and we we were talking about something, and I just stopped abruptly mid-sentence, and we completely changed the subject, talked about, like, 4 other things. About an hour later, I was like, "Oh," and I picked up right where I left off, and we just continued that conversation, and that's just how I feel like that's the key to, like, a good friendship.
Mhm. And a good
Even
show too. Picking
Yeah.
back up where you left off without being like, "Where was I again?" Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes I need to be kept on task, but it's the ADHD. We diverge neurally, and it goes where it wants to go, and it's sort of fun, and I think it's actually been a really great outlet because I'm so much less annoying in real life now.
You have an outlet for it. So
Yeah,
it's perfect. My god. The world's better off for having quite unusual for
I
various reasons. Good to
just
know.
scream into the ether and, sometimes I forget people actually listen to it, and then someone will come back or send a comment or, send us an email or something and say like, "Oh, wow, when I was 6, I also did that." Like, "Oh, that's a story I guess I told to a bunch of people in the globe, so thanks."
They now know so
Now
much
they
about me.
now they know my social security number. No.
Uh, so I when like that's one of the things also I like is there's a naturalness about it. Like there's a conversation happening that you're just a well-informed conversation on a crazy weird topic. And I find myself a very similar way. I try to have a fun flow because I want to know everyone. I want to know what their stories are. The world is a very zany place. And everyone has their own stories, but everyone's processing this world in their own sort of way. So I
Yeah.
try to I like having people on because I really want to pick their brains on what they're experiencing. Like, so you have a show that's very much like paranormal true crime podcast. That's how my brain, I kind of block it up that way.
Mhm.
Now do you have, I'd love to hear, like, do you have beliefs and random stuff? Do you feel like you are like, do you have, like, give an example, like, premonitions. Do you think a premonition is real? Stuff like this.
Oh, okay. So always this is such a cop out answer. I like to say I don't know what I believe in because who knows
Mhm.
anything.
That's fair.
There's only one thing I am absolutely certain of, and that this is all a simulation. None of this is happening.
Oh, no. Okay. Then
No, I'm
let's
just
deep
kidding.
dive. No,
I don't know
I'm
for
saying
sure.
I'm glad to take the topic because I had a discussion with someone that may be on the show later this year who believes it to be a simulation, but not. If I had to pick his brain, So I'll gladly. I doesn't matter. Like this is how I describe it every time. Doesn't matter. I don't have to believe what you believe as long as you
Mhm.
believe what you believe and you bring your story to me. So that's what my thought is.
That's a
Like I
slippery
had
slope.
yeah, oh my god, I had a flat earther on my show once because this was a broadcast. This is on live radio broadcast,
No
and I
way.
had him on the show. We didn't have call in yet because I was going to do that, but I was a little nervous on that setting.
Uh-huh.
But I clearly I believe we're on a sphere. I'm not that way, but I had to understand why people were thinking this. So I
Yeah.
found a guy who is like relatively well known in that field of weird thought processes, I guess.
What a
And I just
thing
had
to
him on
be
the
known
show.
for.
Oh my god, yeah, he was like I had more backers suddenly on my social media from people who were flat earthers, which I did not want to be honest with you. I was
Uh-huh.
like, and they're all like, "Hey, oh, you're one of us." I'm like, "I am not one of you." But it was interesting to do. And interesting guy. Like I talked to him, and I didn't have to believe what he had, but I have asked questions. I'm like, I literally need to know how you can come to these conclusions. And I'm not attacking anyone. I want to hear their stories.
Yeah.
So that is one of the reasons why I can ask questions about bizarre stuff. Like you say you have in a haunted attic.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sure.
and what makes you believe you're in a haunted attic?
Well, first, I would like to say I am this is quite unusual as an anti-flat earth podcast. We do believe in the curvature of the earth, so I just wanna put that out there.
All about the
Mhm.
curves. I'm all
That's
about the curves. You know me.
you know we like it. You know we like
Mhm.
those curves.
Hmm.
So that's something that I just wanna put out there when I said I don't know what I believe in. I definitely believe that the earth is round.
Hmm.
So, yeah, just putting that out there. This house is so interesting to me. I am one of those very cliched people that will say, "Every house I've ever lived in has been haunted," but it has, or
Hmm.
something.
Hmm.
Something's been happening to the point where a I went to get screened for schizophrenia at a house that I lived in because so
Wow.
much weird stuff was happening.
Hmm.
I'm like, "This can't be real, right? Like, none of this can be real." And my partner at the time was like, "Oh, no, I hear the toilet flush at 2 AM also." Like, "Okay, good." And it's not the cat, right? We didn't teach him how to do that, I'm sure. So I definitely think that there's probably ghosts.
Hmm.
Honestly, hopefully, maybe. I actually like the idea that it's not necessarily like the spirits of like the dead, that
Hmm.
it's just like another dimension that sort of like sits on top of ours and like kind of like comes in and out and whatever. And I'd like to think that maybe they see us as ghosts too.
I like this idea. This is great. I'm one of those people that I'm very much a logical brain person, but I
Mhm.
leave 5 to 10% wonder in my life because wouldn't it be a cooler universe if this was true? And that's what I preface a lot of stuff. Like, wouldn't it be a cooler universe if aliens showed up or if ghosts were a thing and stuff?
Yeah.
And also like I'm a person. I used to do ghost hunts. I because I love getting a chance to experience random
Mhm.
spaces also in buildings you're not allowed to go into. Like, oh, that's
Mhm.
cordoned off. Can't go in there. But those team of 4 people are going to stay all night there. I'm like, fuck, I want to be in that right there. So I would gladly jump into a space that way. And I had all the tech too. I used to work in a software industry. So
Oh, yeah.
I used to record all the audio and spend 2 weeks listening to audio for of a quiet building until listening for something. So
Yeah.
I want to believe. I think there's a lot of stuff that's happened. And I've encountered things. People have listened to my show. I've actually talked a couple different times about encountering, like I was at a building in Indiana it was an Airbnb that was supposedly haunted and
Mhm.
really interesting, really cool. And I totally thought the guy was scamming us until day number 4. We were there for over 4 days, like a long weekend hanging out. After
Mhm.
everyone left, cameras were off, 4 people sitting there watching stuff, and we experienced exactly what the person said he saw. I saw like a thing like lean over, like door frame, and a person's shadow. We're staring at the wall. A person like leaned over and leaned back, like a peek around, like a person. And that's like I goosebumps talking about it now. Like it was we're in a building that was locked. There was a creaky floor. You should have heard someone walking. Nope.
Wow.
I clearly saw a human shaped shadow lean around a corner into the room we're looking at, lean back. And I was like, okay, I need to know what's going on here. So
That's amazing.
oh yeah, it was crazy. And we were all sitting there watching. It was those who heard the show may have heard the story before, but we were facing a television set and a small
Mhm.
television. The the place we were at, I think that the person sold it now, so I can feel safe saying it, but it was called Whispering Estates,
Mm.
and it was in outside of Indianapolis. And people had gone there from one of the shows I worked on way back in the day. Had gone there. It was a ghost show, and the guy messaged me, one of the hosts. He's like, "Listen, I kid you not, I was sitting in the living room and we heard whispering. Literally, there was a person whispering in our ear. That we heard it. I'm not lying, and I trusted Doug's an amazing guy. He was a phenomenal dude, and I'm
Mhm.
like, so fast
This is
forward about.
rude though, honestly, like, don't whisper to me, I don't need that.
Oh my god, that's
Mhm.
what me. Like I just want like audio, detached audio bothers me because that means there's a like in order to make stuff happen, you have to like there's things got to happen, breathing, talking, mouth movements,
Mhm.
everything else, and everyone in the room heard it, so it wasn't just like him
Oh.
hearing something. So it was like you heard that, right? It was a person's voice, a woman's voice, something, and so a couple years later. A handful of years later, I think, another show I was working on. I had a news segment on one of the other shows I worked on, and they rented it out for a long weekend, the 4th of July weekend. And I just got a breakup and I didn't want to be in the town anymore. I'm like, I need to get
Mhm.
away. And he's like, hey, I have 4 days. We can stay in one of the most haunted houses in the United States to do audio recordings and do a radio show, a
Mhm.
live, like we're going to do a 24-hour live broadcast or
Cool.
whatever it was. And I'm like, sold. I am
Yeah.
there. I went there. We hung out. And the moment we walked in the door, the guy was just clearly trying to make an Airbnb that was haunted. Like there were stories originally of like this stuff
Mm.
walking and stuff, and I was like, every bit of my sensor of like BS sensor is going off right now.
Mhm.
So he gave us the key, and the moment he walked out the door, me and actually the guy Kenny Biddle, which actually was a guest last season on the show, he
Mhm.
works for the Center for Inquiry Studies. Like he
Cool.
does so he's one of the guys that debunks all his videos, and he's a very debunker guy, but kind of good spirited. Goes and investigates himself. Reason I was there, and him and we hit it off, and we started like dismantling the house. We were like, literally,
Mhm.
he's like, "There's a voice from behind here." We figured out there's a vent there. He climbed under the house and found speakers under the living room, and I was like,
No.
"Yep." We put and he popped up. I have a picture. Actually, I'm going to paint a picture of him. He popped up from the vent, covered in cobwebs, with a
Mhm.
speaker in his hand. He's like, "Look what I found," and I was like,
Wow, what a
"Okay."
phony.
Yeah, and this was the first 2 hours of us being there. We have 3 to 4 days to hang out. So, and I'm not a person going to spoil anyone's fun. Everyone else is going to enjoy themselves. I think what I think now, but I'm
Yeah.
there to help the show. If people want to do a call outs, they want to do all night things. We're doing Ouija board stuff. I let them enjoy themselves. And I just made sure that the tech was running. I would vocalize and, describe
Mhm.
the scene and have fun that way. And then the last day, everyone leaves. We all go, and I decided I don't want to head back. I'm still enjoying my vacation. We go to the town. It's 4th of July weekend, so we get a chance to experience the middle of rural Indiana 4th of July weekend. It
Oh
is,
boy.
oh my God, it is,
That's red, white, and blue, baby.
you'll understand exactly what that scene is like. I'm
Yes.
like, yeah. So we go, we get a food at the grocery store. We go come back to, and we put a random movie in the movie. It was actually The Crazies. I remember the movie. That's how
Oh
much
my
I remember.
god, you crazy.
So
Okay.
we're watching the TV screen, and facing the wall where the TV is, we can see the light from the dining room splashing up on the wall. So there's a TV here, and next to it's the door shape. And the
Uh-huh.
door shape, I literally, 3 of us facing forward. Fourth guy's going for the beer. He's opening the cooler up, and we see 3 of us watch a person's shape like up. I mean, literally from my shoulder this far, like lean over, then lean back. It was
Oh,
like that, and 3 of us reacted. It wasn't just like oh, what we all 3 of us recoiled and like, oh
yeah.
my, like loudly. And Sean to my right, he spins around, and of course he misses it. But he's a guy who's experienced a lot of stuff. So he was more excited that myself, and other people had done
Mhm.
it. So the moment it happens, I have a notepad in my back pocket. I pull it out and I start drawing what I do. As I'm like,
Yeah.
just a second. I draw it out. I close the book. I'm like, describe to him what you just saw. And
Okay, sketch
Sean,
artist.
yeah, the sketch artist, totally sketchy
Yeah.
sketch artist. Yeah. So and he describes it, and Sean has the book in his hand. He opens up, and it's exactly what I just saw. 100% we
Wow.
saw. We spend the next 2 hours trying to figure out what we saw. Like maybe it was
Mhm.
a moth on the chandelier or something else. No, we couldn't. Only way to pull it off was having a person lean over the thing. And by the time I saw the shadow, by the time I looked, it was already moving back. So I didn't see the thing leaning over, but I saw clearly a dark, full, like head, shoulder, 2 shoulders. I mean, it was just
Yeah.
like this much of a shoulder diagonally down, leaning around there.
That's a
And
peeper, baby. You got
dude, the peek behinds, right? The look behinds.
Mhm.
There's a term for those, and that's the thing that I will lose myself watching videos on YouTube, being like, "There's something around corners, leaning around corners,"
Yeah.
and
I
then
won't
that
watch
night,
it. I refuse to watch that.
Oh, really? Oh my
Absolutely
god.
not. Keep that scary shit away from me, I don't want it.
Dude, that's one of my jams, and I hate that AI has ruined that for me.
Oh,
AI has ruined now every video is like
ooh,
the caught on camera shows were my favorite thing. Like the
ooh,
stupidest caught on
AI.
camera stuff.
Ugh.
Now it's just AI. I can't trust anything. Like give me a good UFO video or a monster walking through the shrubbery. I would used to love that. Now it's like, nah, it's probably AI. How many fingers
Yeah.
does it have? Probably AI.
It's so boring. It takes the whimsy out of life,
Yeah, truly, truly is. As a person
honestly.
who does art and has to contend with people who now just generate its own thing, that's its own problem unto itself. But
Honestly, I'm so disappointed that as a culture, the robots get to do, like, the poetry and, like, the art and stuff, and we have to toil in, like, the Excel fields, and, like, I'm pivoting tables all day long, okay? Pivoting tables till my fingers bleed, and the robot's just like, "Here's a sonnet."
mhm. Here's a video. Here's a one of the projects I work on. We get movies sent into us, and there was one of the people that he submitted one, and it seemed kind of weird, and I had to file checking him out on social media, and he did a video of how he now used AI to write the storyboard, the script, the whole movie and audio. It wasn't very good, just it, but he
Yeah,
still made a feature length film in a day and a half, and
yeah,
it was like and it was definitely a movie made a day and a half. But if you arm that with a guy who spends a month or two on it, being like, oh, they're attacking our movies and like
yeah.
legit big things. So
It's so disappointing, like, the magic of cinema is, like, straight up dying. I don't know if you like, e even, like, CGI, I think, goes too far. Like, can we as a society agree that we don't need a fucking live action of every single Disney movie ever fucking made? Because
hmm
80% of it is gonna be, like, a CGI candlestick singing.
hmm
We don't need that, we already have an animated candlestick.
And I'm also a big fan of like Muppets and stuff too. Give me a person and
Oh,
a
the
tangible
Muppet.
thing walking around.
Jim
So
Henson is rolling in his grave that there is no more puppetry in this world.
mhm.
Yeah,
We're
you know
trying though. Oddly enough, the previous guest that was on before you was a Jim Henson's puppeteer because I wanted to make sure people remember that there's puppets happening because I wanted it's a lost art.
it
So,
is a lost art, that was my dream job when I was a child, to
oh,
make and be a puppeteer.
oh my
Mhm.
gosh.
Obsessed with it, obsessed with them. I thought it was the coolest thing in the whole world.
That I can see that. Knowing you more and more now, I can see a young Noelle being very excited about little puppets. Do you have puppets at home or do you make something? Did you what was your thing as a child?
I would, like, make them, like, out
Nice.
of, like, little, like, bullshit that I could find in my house. But no, I never, like, got into puppetry. Seriously,
Well,
I
puppets are
wish I
expensive, man.
had.
Yeah, yeah. Like I'm
Yeah.
not good at sewing stuff, so I never got a chance to get into puppeteering. I mean, I had fun. I have friends of mine that are puppets. Although
Mhm.
now that in my life in my studio, I've been making props for movies, so I've actually made puppets in the past
I've
2, 3
seen
years
your
now.
puppets, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I gotta do some more. People get a kick out of them. So there's
It's
bits
so
and
cool.
pieces all over my studio here. So this is why I love this show because I just want to talk to you and get to know you more and
Yeah,
hear the weird stuff that is in the head of Noelle.
yeah.
So like you experience ghostly things.
Oh,
Do
yeah,
you
that's what we were talking about. Let's go.
yeah, yeah, I'm back around. I'm pretty good about circling back around now. I'm getting good at this because I'm a
Uh-huh.
rambler, so it's
Yeah.
pretty nice that way. Now, if you have so we have ghostly sort of stuff. Do you have the branches off of the ghostly things? Are there like they're like think of different sort of ghosts we have. We have when like there's telekinesis stuff, things being moved around, or
Mhm.
is it like when what's that thinking like poltergeist activities stuff where there's not a ghost but a spirit or something else? You said there's different universes. Do you feel that there's different things that fall into that catch under the ghost heading that maybe you believe in? Do you feel that it connects in our universe?
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna say that I don't believe in demons,
Mhm.
in the classical, like, Catholic sense of the word. I don't know. I don't believe in it because I'm not, like, a religious-based person.
Same.
Like, power to anyone that, like, does believe in it, that's great, whatever. I just think that it's very interesting that people I was gonna use the word demonize demons,
But
but
probably accurate in the setting. Actually, that's the sentence does truly work in what you're trying to say. I think.
yeah,
I,
I mean, it's kinda true, though, like, I don't know, it just feels silly to me that people immediately turn towards, like, "Oh, it has to be evil because it scratched me." When if you lost your physical body, think
Mhm.
about, like, when you're really, really sore, right, from, like, a workout or whatever, and you pick something up and it takes tremendous energy because like, your muscles are shaking, you're really tired, whatever, and you have a corporeal form. If you are missing that physical body, or even if, like, you're tired or whatever, like, everything feels so much heavier. if you don't have that physical body to pick something up and, like, move it or, like, to say, like, "Hi," because you have a sore throat in real like, in your human body, think about how difficult it is to communicate when you are nothing but, like, a breeze on the wind, basically, is what we think of, like, a
Yeah,
ghost
yeah,
would.
yeah.
So, they if a ghost is real and they summon all of their energy, all of their strength, and they just try so hard to, like, tap you on the shoulder and say, like, "I'm here, Magnus, like, I'm here, I see you," and they try to touch you, and it turns out that they end up scratching you, they're automatically a demon?
Hmm.
You're just maligning every spirit that does anything that you feel is, I don't know, evil in some way, and I just think that that's kind of silly.
Mhm. Oh, I agree. I think, there's a lot happening in this universe that I really think needs to, like, I mean, the human experience always been the unknown has always been ghosts or witches in the woods. So we always kind of
Mhm.
log these things in here. So I don't know. Like ghosts is a good catch-all, and it's very much interesting working around with people that are religious and what they deem as like bad things and instantly demons. And again, I'm not religious. I'm not. I don't think that way. Although there is an interesting across. I'm going to jump over to another topic right now because are you a person that follows UAP and UFO stuff? Are you a person?
Absolutely. I'm a member of MUFON, baby.
Oh my god, that's amazing. My god. So because the reason the conversation come up is because there is a new contingent of demons being aliens and stuff. Have you seen these threads where
Mhm.
the aliens may actually be what we perceive as demonic things, and we've been taking like it's interesting where religion has put their fingers in for describing what's happening in the world. And I just noticed that the UFOs are now picking up some demonology and angels and things this way.
Yeah, for sure. This is an audio medium, so you guys couldn't hear me roll my eyes, but I did. I I just feel like when there is an unknown thing, people turn and I'm not saying anything negative about religion, but I
No,
think that people use religion to explain things away, which makes perfect fucking sense.
yeah,
When we didn't know what thunder was, and we're like, "What's going on up there? There's a crazy noise in the sky," and then sometimes, like, this crazy lightning bolt comes down and it kills my cow. What's happening? They're like, "Oh, it's God, you pissed him off."
hmm
Like, it makes perfect sense that we explain everything away with these unknown, all-powerful beings of some sort,
yeah.
right?
Because we're always looking for we quest for answers. It's our brain. This one I love humans,
Yes.
and but a lot of humans will hit a spot being like, okay, it's this, and we're done. It's
Yep.
just a ghost. It's a that. So, but yeah, 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 or
I
spirit or whatever.
I just can't get on board with aliens being just evil demons because I think about the range of people I keep saying thinking about, sorry. Um, the range of people, good to bad, the whole spectrum of human beings that you have personally met, let alone what has happened in history,
Mhm.
period. So, just to say every alien is definitely a demon, boring. Honestly, maybe some of them love ballet. Some of them definitely, if they saw a kitten, they'd be like, "You're the cutest thing I've ever seen," but, like, in their crazy alien voice or something. Like,
So like
some of
crow
us
aliens. There's a bunch of other ones, all different. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, absolutely. There's, like, aliens with, like, Jinko jeans and backwards hats, like, skateboarding, like, on the
I
Milky
hope.
Way. This
There's
is
another
a
sticker
hill
idea for you right there.
this is a hill I will die on. Jinko jeans are from out of this world. No one has ever made a more perfect article of clothing than the
No,
Jinko jean.
we peaked right then. Yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah.
the zenith of society, and it's because it came from, like, Zeta Reticuli or something. Like, we didn't make that. There's no way.
Of course
You know
not. Oh my god, of course not. My god. Now, so do you believe that there has been in our question or our list of the crazy
Mhm.
stuff on our list here? Do you believe that aliens? Do you believe aliens exist? First off, first question: are there
I
aliens?
very, very much want to believe aliens exist because if we exist, why don't they exist?
Correct.
Yes.
I think so as well. The universe is huge. There's life everywhere. I feel
Uh-huh.
like
There has
now there was we're narrowing it down a bit.
Mhm.
Do you think aliens and UFOs have visited our part of the universe? Have come to hang out here?
I like the idea I like the idea behind, like, Valiant Thor, where, like, he was, like,
Mhm.
a Venusian that came also, like, so sexy for some reason. Everyone's like, "Oh, that Valiant Thor, have you seen his abs?" Amazing. So I love the idea of, like, a sexy alien, first of all, coming to Earth and being like, "Hey, what if you didn't use nukes?" Thoughts on that?
Mhm.
And then our government was like, "Then what are we gonna spend $800 billion on?
Not healthcare or caring for other humans. No, thank you.
Get out of
Clean
here,
water,
son.
fuck that.
No, we don't need that. We need bombs."
Hmm.
So, yeah, I like the idea that they have come here and then they kinda sorta gave up on us. And then
We
this
tried, you assholes. We tried.
I think that that would be so fitting, honestly.
Yeah, it really would be. I've worked with humanity. I realize I've become very narrow in my band of who I help
Mhm.
sometimes, being like, man, whew, I tried with you, but that's did not go as well as one would hope. My
Yeah,
God.
yeah, so I'd like to think that they've been here. Maybe they are here. I like the stories of the military complexes where, like, the tall whites are also working there in, like,
Mhm.
Arizona or whatever. I think that that's so fun. I do not think and I'm talking from, like, a very American angle on this. I do not think that we have any of their technology
Mhm.
because we are, as a society, so fucking stupid. No offense to everyone listening, but I mean,
No, your guests and my listeners and your listeners are actually the smartest, best people on the planet. So it's okay. So
that's
quite
very
unusual. And the Mind of Magnus listeners are actually peak human form. So
yeah. But, like, as a society, like, we can't even get along to get off of this planet.
mhm.
Like, come on. We don't have their technology. There's no way. All of our electric cars are blowing up. Like, we're trying our best, honestly.
Mhm.
I just don't think that we have their technology. And
Mm.
but I'd like to think that maybe they've come here. What do you think?
When I was younger, like
Mhm,
this is an X-Files guy in my brain. I really thought there was clearly something. There's a bunch of examples in history of just odd
mhm,
people showing up or characters showing up that seem kind of
mhm.
ubiquitous across things. So I love a good puzzle. So part of my brain has always thought again, this is that 5 to 10% of wonder that what if, like,
Yeah.
wouldn't be a cool, it'd be a cooler universe if we did have at some point.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
but I'm a big fan too of being like, you know what? If they're flying past the planet, they may have stopped in and being like, okay, noted on a map, we're
Mhm,
continuing on, we're shooting through that way. The older I've gotten, the more I realize that it's a huge universe out there, and it would be
mhm.
very impressive for someone to find a planet on the edge of Orion's, or it's like there's a lot of stuff. So the more I got, the older, the more I kind of thought, being like, man, they must have. How would you find something that way? Like, what would you do? So the older I've gotten, the more I wish it. I like the poster on Mulder's wall. I want to
Mhm.
believe. So that's more of my
Same.
thing. I definitely want to believe the true. Um,
That's such a good point, though. How do you find these planets? I can't even go to somewhere without GPS anymore. That's how
mhm,
brain rotted I am as a person. So
mhm.
how are they how are they finding places, you know?
Yeah, and I have Rochester has a lot of smart people. It's a
Yeah.
very intelligent, weird town. Got a lot of cool stuff. Like Adam Frank lives in town here. So he's the astrophysicist that people interview. He did the update to the Drake's equation and stuff. So
Yeah.
I see Adam Frank. He is so we'll do events and he'll walk up to me and he knows I'm going to ask a random question. So he'll walk up to me
Mhm.
and say hi, and he'll talk about aliens and he wants to believe. He's like, we run the numbers. There's a lot of planets, a lot of things, but
Mhm.
can you like but I mean, you have to think about too. There's examples of humans finding islands in the Pacific, and half of our planet is the Pacific Ocean.
Right.
So they didn't know where they're going to. They just happened to find it, and now we have Easter Island.
Mhm.
There's a lot of Pacific cultures out there that somehow managed to find an island where the sphere, like if you look at the backside of our planet, it's just one giant blue dot,
Oh,
blue
yeah.
thing, and they figured out somewhere in there so maybe there's a chance that something found us along the way. And again, I want it to be true. I
Yeah.
am a creature designer. I want to see a planet. I
Mhm.
actually was on a board, a discussion channel, a chat a little bit ago, here in the city, and one of the people spoke up and they're like, you know what? If we ever needed to have someone to go talk to an alien, I would nominate Magnus for it because
I would too.
yeah, I was honored. It actually caught me off guard, being like, "Wait, me? There's like a lot of smart people on this board here," and
Yeah.
they're like, "But you're like inquisitive. I'm a biology nut. I want to just
Yep.
check. I want to, and I don't, So it was
You're
very
just
sweet.
like a nice guy too,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? They'd be like,
I
"Come
have
here."
Oh, I thank you. I try. I had a person say here one time. I do open studio sessions. It's like a third place for people to come and hang out, relax on certain days. And we were having a discussion once, and they came up. We're watching a movie where someone get turned into a monster, and
Mhm.
everyone's stoned, hanging out, and they're like, you know what? If I woke up and found myself as a monster, I would look for Magnus first because I'd probably believe you. Like, be like, listen, I like, you know, like what, if like
Right.
actually it was a Groundhog's Day. Take that back. It was
Yes.
Groundhog's Day. If you woke up the same day every day, what would you do? And that was argument. Like, I'd go to find you because I would be quick to like, I would give you the key word that would tell you what to do. Be like, what did I tell you to let me know that you're the person here? And then
Mhm.
I would be like, okay, let's solve the problem. He was like, yeah, we cut out the middleman. I would quickly believe you within 10 minutes and be like,
I believe that you would. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because in worst case scenario, at least I get a good, interesting story out of it for a day. If
Yeah.
you're going to carry on a joke for more than a day, I guess you need something in your life. But
Commit
like,
to
I
the
will
bit.
gladly give a chance for a what if. Being like, listen, I'm in a Groundhog Day scenario. I'm like, okay, what did I tell you that I would only tell someone in a Groundhog Day scenario?
Mhm.
So, which is your social security number. So, what's your social security number again? I was going to
Oh,
give
I'll
that.
text it to you so you have it
Oh,
written
oh,
down.
good, 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 good.
You just
So,
copy paste it for sure.
yeah, but it's so much handier that way.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
but yeah,
I
so I
Yeah, I agree with that, honestly. Like, I feel like if I just, like, texted you and I was like, "I'm from 1910," you'd be like, "Oh my god, okay, cool. So let's deal with that right now. Let me text you back in 5 minutes. I'm doing something." And then you yeah,
I would definitely like ask for a little bit of confirmation. I feel like so that
yeah.
way. Now, do you feel? Here's the thing. Do you feel like that's the third? Do you feel like time travel is a possible thing? Because there's a lot of
Mhm.
stories. You're like. Quite unusual has stories that you mentioned of people feeling they've slipped back in time, time slips, or seeing it. Like there's plenty of people flying in planes that think they see an airfield out of time, and that there's plenty of
Mhm.
examples of people having time slips or something else. Do you believe that there's possible time slips?
I love I am a sci-fi nerd until I die. I
Oh,
love time travel. I love the idea of it. I love the just that people thought of it, period. I love the idea that I don't know if you've heard that gray aliens are us from the future coming
oh
back
yeah.
to be
Yeah, I
like,
have a guy that wants to jump on the show. He's a big proponent of it. He thinks that we're just examples of us in our failed state trying to get our genetic material back to be stronger. So,
yes, I love all of that shit so, so deeply. And I love every time I see like a shitty little article from like the Daily Mail that's like, they've proven time travel. And I am reading that front to back to front, being like, this is bullshit. I love it. It's so good. It's
now,
so
you ever heard any of the stories that really captivated you? Like there was it John Teeter that when the internet first got going, there was a guy like, have you ever heard any story being like that may be true? Do you ever feel like there's one that speaks to you?
um
Not to put you on the spot. Sorry.
no, 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 you're good. There was that guy on TikTok, like sorry, I'm a millennial. There's a guy on TikTok, like, I don't know, a few months ago that claimed that he like went into a shed and
Oh,
then
I did. Yeah, the
he
guy
saw
walked in and the can't like he came out a day or
like
so later and he was look older. Is that that
yeah,
one? Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
one was kind of fun. I don't know if I believe any of the stories, honestly. I think that, like, every movie, every, like, story that I've heard of it, especially in in movies, when, like there's one rom-com that I just watched that I'm not even gonna plug 'cause it's one of the worst fucking movies I've ever seen in my entire life. But he comes who's the guy that played The Greatest Showman? Gerard no, not Gerard
No,
Butler.
no, I know what you're talking about.
Oh, I'm brain farting. Something
It's
with a
fine.
G. The
All
Australian guy.
Hugh Jackman.
Damn, yes. Thank you. Hugh Jackman, he time travels. He's from, like, the early 1900s, and he comes to current day, and he meets Meg Ryan, and he assimilates into, like, 2003 in, like, 8 hours, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, cars? That makes sense to me. Like, what is this, a computer? Yeah, I got this." He just totally is, like, falls right into place, like, it makes so much sense. He lives in, like, the current time for, like, months on end for some reason. Terrible movie, terrible fucking movie, but I love the nonsense idea that it wouldn't immediately kill someone. Like, if you bring a Victorian child to 2025, they are dying in, like, 15 minutes. You give them a hot Cheeto, dead. You show them an iPhone, dead. You, tell anyone from the past any of these things are happening, they will die immediately, and I will die on that hill because I just don't feel like the human brain is capable of comprehending such things,
Mhm.
and it would really mess someone up. So if there ever has been a time traveler that came from the past to now, I think either they're locked up in some sort of, like, mental health ward,
Mhm.
or they have immediately died of a heart attack because, like, they saw, I don't know, a light switch on and they're like, "You're a witch."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They walked past a television screen and was, like, literally died thinking a tiger was coming at them, something else.
Exactly,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly, and I think the same thing if, like, a modern human, like, as like us, time traveled. Obviously, there's some people that, like, we really love a time travel moment, like,
mhm.
I don't wanna be, like, conceited or anything, but you and I would probably survive at least a week, unless we die of some terrible disease that they have in the future and we don't.
Yeah, yeah, we haven't got the immunes for it yet.
For sure, we don't got those immunobots.
Mhm.
So, I think it would be very, very difficult for a person to time travel and actually, like, be successful in even telling someone that they have time traveled without getting locked up.
Mhm. I can see that. That's
So
the craziness. You
so
never
is
know.
it real? Maybe. It we'll never ever know. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Fingers crossed, it'd be awesome to happen that way. Now, do you feel, you were mentioning before about ghosts and stuff and feeling do you feel that there's like a multiverse aspect of our universe?
Oh, for sure. I think that's so fun. I think if we are real,
Mhm,
which I love to say because who knows? Maybe we're in a snow globe.
mhm.
I saw a saint elsewhere. Sorry.
No, no, no,
Everything
please.
everything is TV and movies in my brain.
You're
So
amongst your own kind here. That's great.
so, I mean, none of this could be real,
Mhm,
honestly, and that's I'm sorry if anyone listening thinks that that sounds, like, very crackpot, but who knows? What's the proof? There's no proof of it. We're real in our own sense of reality, for sure, but we may not be real in someone else's sense of like, reality or whatever. So, oh, where was I going with this? If it's I'm so sorry.
you're fine. Talking about multiverses and where they are and stuff that
So,
way.
if we're real and if we're here, then there are probably countless versions of us that have made endless choices to get to slightly different places.
Nice.
I'd like to think that. What do you think? Because 'Cause I'm so interested in knowing.
Oh, so I would love to believe it's one of those things. I want it to be true.
Mhm.
My brain every once in a while, my science brain will be like, "There's only so much energy you can have." So what would like you have to power one universe, let alone multiple universes. So
Mhm.
that's my thought. Sometimes being like, "Yeah, it could be the," but I have one of my favorite guests to come on the show, Zen Dennis. Dennis is an amazing dude, and he fully believes that there is multiple realities happening. Maybe not infinite, but there's like timelines that you can kind of like step into, like the better version. Like you can
Mhm.
like choose, like choosing your path. So he thinks that what's the word I'm thinking of, like he can manifest. So what you're doing in manifestation, when you manifest your universe, you're actually steering yourself into the universe next to you that has what you want there, and then
Oh,
that
I love
path
that.
takes off that way. So
Yeah.
he thinks, and that's one of the reasons why we met. He thinks fully that I'm a person that can like step to different timelines if I need to. He's always, for the decades I've known him, he always thinks
Mhm.
that I'm somehow conjuring my universe and manifesting what I need, which kudos. I'll gladly take whatever I can. I mean, I'm manifesting a great talk conversation with an awesome person right now. So I guess maybe he is correct in this.
Oh, stop
Um,
it, you.
Hey,
Yeah,
dude, I'm a big fan of you. I love, and we're friends. Makes me feel more magical. And maybe your prom date in Chicago. Who knows? We'll see.
who knows?
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I fully want to believe. And there's clearly states now that the bigger the like hadron colliders and all the colliders keep
Mhm.
making more and more. They're showing there's something else happening beyond our realm. Which, and one of the crazy things I really love is that we're getting to a point now that we're starting to be able to understand what the ether of the universe is,
Mhm.
what the canvas we're on, for lack of a better term. We're trying to finally learning what's happening there. So once you start realizing that there's something that we're on, like if you take a glass box in space and you put it's a
Mhm.
vacuum in there, but light passes through it, I mean it passed through something. There's an
Yeah.
empty box. So what is the thing that's happening inside that space? So you start realizing like, oh, there's an ether, there's a something here. So does that mean that there's a barrier or a wall or something? Is there something beyond it? I'd love to know, because I think there's instances of things interacting with our universe that may not be in our three-dimensional realm. So does that mean there's another
Mhm.
three-dimensional realm?
Oh,
So
yeah.
a lot of questions, a lot of stuff. I don't have an answer because I'm not that smart of a person, but I try. So I want to listen. That's why I didn't interview anyone else. I want to bring those people on to answer my questions, what I have. So that's my goal. So
Oh, yeah. I have a friend who I think he's like an astrophysicist, and there are days where I will just send him 95 questions. I'm like, "Okay, so hope like, hypothetically, if time travel is real, then what happens?" And he just goes down, and I will get like a 45-minute voice note of him just answering every one of my questions like I'm a 3rd grader, and I'm so grateful for it.
Mhm. I love
It's
people like that.
amazing. I absolutely love it. And speaking of multi dimensions, I kind of you haven't asked about cryptids yet, but I'd like to jump to the cryptid
That
game
was
if
gonna be my
I can.
next question. So good. Also, apparently, reading mind reading is a good thing because you just did it to me. So good
That's
job.
me, that's me. I actually, time traveled 14 seconds ahead, and then I came right back, so I knew what
Oh,
was gonna
that
happen.
makes sense. I
Yeah.
saw that flash of light. I wonder what it was from.
It's just my glowing smile, obviously. So,
That too.
I'd like to think that if cryptids are real, they are interdimensional beings,
Ooh, nice. Do you
and
have an
that's why
example which you think would be an interdimensional being?
yeah, for sure, like Bigfoot, he's popping in and out. He's not living here.
Oh, wow. We
I
have,
think that's so fun. Mothman? Abso-fucking-lutely, if Mothman is real, he is interdimensional. There's
mhm,
so many stories. I love cryptids.
mhm, I'm down.
I
That's I
love
was saving that for one of the last things because I know I'm gonna ramble on for a while on it because I love it.
we got to. I love, like, all the stories of a cryptid, and then it leaves well, aliens do this too in a lot of stories. They leave, like, a radioactive impression or, like, someone will, like, get this is so sad, but, like, will get stomach cancer because they saw, the Flatwoods Monster once. And it's just from, like, radioactive activity, or they're always hanging around, like, radioactive areas. Or I live right by O'Hare Airport,
Mhm.
and we have a Mothman.
I saw it. My god, I was following that. I had my Google alerts turned on for the
Mhm.
Chicago Mothman that was happening.
Yeah, and, like, there's, like, a lot of O'Hare Airport used to be a Air Force base,
Mhm,
and it's no longer anymore, obviously, it's just a regular international airport, but there's a lot of, like, fields that I'm gonna say, who knows what was happening because who knows what the government does with their land. We don't know, maybe there's something under there. Who
mhm.
knows? But there's a lot of sightings. I think that's sort of fun. Sometimes you see them, sometimes you don't. They all look a little bit different. Maybe they're just popping in and out and, kinda going on vacation or even worse, like, they're walking through a door trying to go to their kitchen, and then they walk in and they're like, "What did I come in here for?" And they're at O'Hare Airport.
Nice.
Who knows?
I love it. My god.
Yeah,
So, you definitely have you been to the Mothman Festival yet? Have you gone down to what
I
Point
haven't.
Pleasant?
I've been to Point Pleasant, I haven't gone to the festival.
Oh, it's magical.
That's
Get a
a
chance
bucket
to check it
list for
out.
me this year. I think I gotta go.
How far is it from you if you have to go? It's not
West Virginia is about it's like a 14-hour drive.
okay. So it's still a hike. I mean,
Mhm.
so good to know. My gosh. So, what other cryptids is there one that you like? So, Mothman, we have Bigfoot. I'm a big fan of the Bigfoot. Like one of the ones I want to believe. I literally have a sign here. Someone gave me just sent it for Christmas. I have a Bigfoot standing behind the screen right here.
Yeah.
And like I actually had a couple guests on so far that were like Bigfoot hunters. A book I had Matt Pruitt, he wrote
Mhm,
a phenomenal Sasquatch, which is a great episode. Good book
mhm.
too if people want to know that. We have other random cryptids. And what about does a Fae fall into cryptids for you, or is Fae its own thing?
I think Fae is its own thing, honestly. I think that it's not dissimilar to a cryptid, but
Mhm.
I think of more of a cryptid as being sort of like I don't know, maybe almost humanoid-ish
Interesting.
in a way. Well, I guess, like, Nessie is not very humanoid.
So you know a cryptid if you saw it. Are you trying to say that's it? Like, so we can play the game of like, is this a cryptid or not? Would you say like
Yeah,
leprechaun is a leprechaun? What is it? What's a leprechaun?
Fae.
Okay.
That's
So we have Loch Ness monster is cryptid.
cryptid,
Chupacabra.
cryptid,
Uh, terror birds.
cryptid.
Cryptid. Okay.
Yeah, maybe, like, any, like, large, like, zoological type animal would
Okay.
be
That's
more of
fair.
like a
That's
cryptid, but,
fair.
like,
So
humans are animals, so
I've met a
we are.
handful of them. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Uh, well, good. See, these are the things I need to know how to
Mhm.
classify proper things in there.
Yeah.
So, but Faye falls into a bit of the magic realm too. Do you have a belief in the magical realm?
I love a Fae story. That's one of the things I keep trying to do episodes on the Fae,
Oh,
and
geez, that's a heavy lift. Holy cow!
I mean, narrow it down, like, I tried to
Yeah.
do, like, a fairies episode just about fairies, and I ended up doing an episode on gnomes instead,
Hmm.
and then also an episode on the Cottingley fairies instead, because
Oh, that's sweet.
I
Those girls were very talented. Whatever they may have been going on there. Holy cow!
That is such a cool and fun story. It's like the best prank in history, for
Dude,
sure.
and that's one of those, Time Life Mysteries of the Unknown. They have little
Mhm.
photos of it and, like, yeah, whatever. I'm glad it had, uh, wasn't who's Sherlock the Sherlock Holmes writer, wasn't it? Didn't he involved in that one
Yeah,
too? He
yeah,
was yeah,
Conan Arthur Doyle.
yeah, yeah,
Arthur
yeah.
Conan Doyle, Arthur
Yeah, you
Conan
got it.
Doyle. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there were a lot of people invested in that whole
Yeah.
story. Like they said, they wanted to believe in there.
Oh, he was a huge spiritualist.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I agree.
absolutely. Like, he was, like, trying to find the Fey realm. If anyone was wondering what the guy that wrote Sherlock Holmes was doing in his spare time, he was, like, looking for, like, a fairy wife for sure, so
I
yeah,
can't fault him there. That seems like at least a good, interesting story to tell at the turn of the centuries sort of parties. So,
right.
oh man, oh man. Now, so you have we had mentioned about like tarot decks and everything else before too. So you have a belief in an understanding, and there's some magic in this universe, right? You believe there's truly some magic in the world.
Yeah, you know what? Why the hell not? I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah,
Wh
yeah.
like, why not? I think that it's great, and I think magic can be as big or as small as you want it to be.
Uh-huh.
I think that, if you really hate your ex-boyfriend, you're like, "Wow, I hate this guy, he's the worst ever," and then you find out 2 years later that he stubbed his toe and he lost his toenail and it kinda got gangrenous, and now he's missing half of his toe. That's magic. You know what? This one's for you, Brett. It's just kidding, Brett's not real. But
I think she was wondering, be like, man, it actually is that's actually like a brief glimpse into the background. Like, fuck that guy, Brett,
no,
my
I
ex.
made that up, but
No.
for sure.
Well, that's good. I mean, like, I'm genuinely curious because I love hearing people like
Mhm.
that there is magic in the universe. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of folks that I hang out with that are so matter of fact that they don't
Mhm.
believe anything else. And like I said, 5 to 10% wonder in my life. I truly love it. Now, do you feel that you have examples in your own life of like, some magics or like conjurings, or is there things that way they kind of give a like what should people to look for if they want to look for magic in their universe? What would be the Noel thing?
Oh, what a special question. I think that magic, not to sound like a 14-year-old girl, but I am at heart. I think magic is all around us in many ways. Like, when you look at a praying mantis,
Hmm.
that's a fucking fairy, right? Have you seen a praying mantis? Have you seen the ones that
Mantids
look
are
like
crazy. My God, yeah, yeah.
they're unreal. They're like tiny little dinosaurs with,
Yeah,
like,
like
beautiful little
orchid mantis, the bright color things. There's like the devil man. Like there's some crazy creatures that live in the
yeah.
mantid families.
Yes,
Yeah.
and even more than that, like, just to stay in, like, the the bug world, there's those volcano snails that are black and red that are very real animals that live on the side of volcanoes.
Hmm.
There's even, like, little pill bugs, which are crustaceans, which makes me laugh, so that's a fun fact. If you're allergic to shellfish, you can't eat pill bugs, you can't eat roly-polies, or you'll have an allergic reaction.
I gotta
All
change my salad right now. Damn.
don't eat
So,
them because 'cause they're just so cute too. But, like,
mm.
that's like a little dragon, you know what I mean? Like, his little scales and, like, they, like, roll up into little balls and, like, roll away from danger. Come on. That's magic. Are you
I
kidding me?
I fully agree. I've encountered like luckily working with the zoos and stuff and seeing things on here. It makes me want to. It pushes me to believe. I can see why people would think of like intelligent design, where there's
Mhm.
something had to have made this because it's such a discrete thing, and that's where I think where magic plays into my brain too, being like
Yeah.
these are fey-like creatures that things like how what a very small niche to do, and it seems almost crazy that happenstance let them become this entity.
Yeah.
So.
It's so silly, and, like, stuff like that is everywhere around us. Even I don't know, you can look at, like, a sugar crystal, and, like, sometimes it looks like, Michael Jackson. You're like, "Wow, that's magic." Just
Mhm.
and, those potato chips that have the Virgin Mary on them?
Yeah,
Magic.
yeah, yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Just I think that it's everywhere, and I think that we, just as people, kind of kill our own creativity, whether it's on purpose or not, to sort of, like, just survive. It's like a survival skill to just get rid of your creativity and just work an office job, and I did that for a long, long time, and a lot of people do it. A lot of people do what they have to do to survive, and I think that it kills that part of your brain that's, like, a little bit magical, but you
Mhm.
can get it back. It's like a muscle. You can work it out.
That's a very optimistic thing. I love hearing
Mhm.
that because I'm always nervous. Like kids clearly have the creative spark. There's a lot of we put a lot of stock in adults. I think we got everything figured out, but children and the sense of wonder before they gets kind of forced out of them by the whatever the world around them. There's
Mhm.
a lot of things going on there that I wish more people kept into adulthood. I think it'd be a better planet if it did. So
Absolutely, and I think the crossover between, like, magical, like, fae thinking and even, like, magical witchcraft is so it's like a full circle in my opinion. It's not like the Venn diagram is a circle. Because
Mm,
when you're a little kid and you're making swords out of sticks, that's magic. You're imagining something. You're doing little spells in your own backyard with leaves and sticks and you're making little potions and you're talking to animals and you're hearing them talk back, and as a little kid, you're doing magic. And as an adult, you're still doing magic.
mhm,
When you pick up your pencil and you draw something, that's magic. You
mhm.
just created something out of thin air. Even on, like, a base level, if you're doing an adult coloring book of The Office and you make Steve Carell's face blue instead of tan, magic. You did it, babe.
Magic when he blew Steve Carell. That's how it works. That's
He blew himself.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I love this because I like the creative spark. There is a thing like I mean you are a wonderful poet. I enjoy when you share your artwork and poetry with me. So there's
Yes.
clearly a bit of that magic still going very strong inside you. And you feel and I'm glad to hear that you feel that it can come back. It's not something lost. It's not, it's there waiting for you when you want to come back to it. So it
Yeah.
makes me smile. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
I really think especially, like, art, like, obviously, you're America's favorite artist. So, Best of Rochester,
We'll find out
2025.
tomorrow. This show, by the time the show may air tomorrow. We'll see if I get it out done in time. But we'll
Okay.
find out tomorrow if I'm the best of.
I
Personally, I don't think I will because I'm against some very talented friends of mine.
mm.
So, but I'm honored to be nominated. But continue on, back around. Art,
Yeah,
you're saying.
Andy's humble. Oh my god, wow. Crazy, crazy. So, I mean, we've had this discussion many times. When I was little, I used to love drawing, I used to love painting, and I stopped doing it for a long time, and I wanted to, like, get it back, and you're like, draw the same thing every single day for 30 days,
Mhm,
and it got better
mhm,
because it's a muscle that you can like, the hand-mind connection, I think can really be built back up.
mhm.
Even if you don't find yourself to be a creative person, I think that you can do it in some sort of way, and it doesn't have to be drawing. Creativity is anything and everything. It's the way you put Christmas lights up. It's the color you decide to paint your room. It's anything and everything can be creative, and I think people need to give themselves more credit and really just kinda lean into it.
Nice. That's a great little. I may use that for a quote in this episode. My God, that's
That felt
wonderful.
too serious.
I know. We have serious moments every once in a while on the
Sorry.
show, not just all goofing around and being awesome. Sometimes we have some serious awesome stuff happening as well. But yeah, we have magic stuff that's happening. I actually have one of the questions I got in. I want to ask this question before we forget because we're gonna do some other
Mhm.
stuff before that happens on here. Uh, do you believe in cursed objects?
Oh, yeah. Um, I believe that you can put energy into an object,
Mhm.
and I think that yeah, sure, why not? I think for sure. I don't think that things are, like, demonic, like, a little doll isn't
I
gonna,
guess
like,
cursed slash
hurt a
haunted.
woman.
Rich was give this question, and he was like, he does. Here's a bit of the background why we're saying this because you may be part of this at some point in time.
Okay,
There's a meme that went around or someone showing a thing that they had a white elephant party where
uh-huh,
everything in there was
I love it.
haunted or cursed. So you have to have a white elephant party where it's a haunted, cursed object. You have to
Yeah,
exchange it amongst everyone else. So we're talking about it. And he wants to be part of it. We have some other people who want to be part of this as well. So maybe we'll have a big, some sort of haunted elephant thing. But yeah, so his question is do you
mhm,
have a belief that you can impart some energies to it? Do you have a belief that there is cursed or energized items? So you
yeah,
do believe such things.
yeah, I think so. I think that there's definitely, like, whether or not you get like, there's stories of someone having something and it's so cursed and it's so haunted and it's, like, ruining their lives and, like, the lights flicker when they bring it out and they have to bury it in a box, like, under their bed, otherwise it, like, terrorizes them at night, and then they send it to someone else, and that person never, ever has any sort of experience.
Hmm.
Maybe it was haunted, maybe it was cursed, but it was just because of the energy that that person was putting into it.
Hmm.
Sort of like when we are afraid of the dark and we are afraid of what we're gonna see because it's so unknown. So, obviously, there's, like, some sort of demon or, like, a werewolf or, like, a baba yaga, like, in the dark, and we've just all made it up in our heads. So, like, you're imparting, like, your own energy and your own perception onto something. So I think that definitely, I think that you can put energy into something, whether it's positive or negative, and I think that it can move over I don't know if I believe that, like, a ghost can be attached to an object,
Hmm.
'cause
So
that feels sad that, like, a human being can be so tied to an object that they travel around with it.
locked in. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like a human spirit or like a someone's spirit.
Hmm.
Unless, I guess you put a positive spin on it and, like, this was your favorite necklace and you wanna be around it all the time?
I mean, we had a person on the show eons back. I don't. She's not even on the podcast. I don't have the audio file of it, but she was a person that fully thought that what your her belief, and this is great. I love this. I give this example every time, and I don't know how to describe what it is,
Mhm.
but everything is in your life you are
Mhm.
imparting your energies into it,
For sure.
and when you connect with that person or that thing, the item in your hand, what you're sensing is not the person. She believes that all time is happening, that right now, us in the past and us in the future happening right now,
Cool.
and the items that you connect with or touching with, they are connecting you not with the person in your moment of time right now,
Mhm.
but you in all the moments of time that exists from. And it's a very sweet thing. I wish but she had a great way of saying it that way. She said it way better than I just did right there. But she felt that there was that like she believed in all time. She believed that everything's happening right now. Our perception of time is what is the weird thing in humans. So she thought that if you have a necklace, what you're
Mhm.
doing is enjoying the necklace at the same time as the woman from 1870s who had it on every day. You may sense her or see her because that is the connecting thing in the throughout time. The perception of time and the increments of time is the connecting agent there.
That's amazing. I absolutely love that. Even, like, that could be you holding a necklace and finding it to be so special, and this is the first time you've ever held it, but maybe you from 40 years from now is having a nostalgic moment about that necklace, and you're feeling that
Mhm.
in the
And that's what
moment.
she's a big thing. She used to say that if you something connected to it is maybe
Yeah.
you're in the future enjoying it as well.
That is
Uh,
so fun. I've never heard that before. I love that.
yeah, I really very bummed. She was a remarkable woman. She's not around anymore. And it was a recording I did for the radio show,
Mhm.
and it was very sweet. And it was one of those things where that's why I like podcasts because we can go like we went over an hour already
Mhm.
right now. And back in the show, we'd have these great conversations, and the show would end, and then people would go in the green room, and we have another 2 hours of amazing content. And she truly believed that there's our concept of time is where we lack in our understanding of
Absolutely.
our own moment of time, how we perceive time, how
Mhm.
everything about it. And because she had an example, she actually used to use me as an example that I'm a very friendly person,
Yeah.
and I met a guy once that I instantly hated. The instant at the moment I met him, I was rude to him. And one of my best friends who had known me for since I was age like 12, she's like, I've never seen you mean to someone, let alone
Yeah.
like not just instantly mean to someone. And I was telling the guy, like, get the fuck away from me. I was like mad at him, instantly else.
A
And
sad
fast
time.
forward, he was a shitty person throughout multiple times in my life, but not through me. One of my exes, come to find out, she was her ex. I didn't know this time. And he is this manipulative, horrible person. And she pointed him out to me. She's like, you hate him so much in this time that it affected you in all time. Like
Wow.
you already hated him before you met him because you hate him so much. And I don't use the word hate often, but he's an abusive person. He's just a
Mhm.
very 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 shitty guy all around. And she used to give me as an example that I sensed my sincere hatred of the guy for what he's done to people so much now that me in the past can sense that now, so you don't even bother with it.
I love that.
So
You pre-hated him.
pre-hated him.
That's
That's
am
actually one of the and from her, one of my things I have now in my weird belief system is that it's actually really sweet. How she met me, she told me that we were supposed to be friends, that she knew we were gonna be friends beforehand. So we had to meet now because we're gonna be friends eventually. So she saw a picture of me and knew we were gonna be friends. And we were really good friends. It was great. It was like, and I've had that a handful of times in my life. She thought that I was not how'd she call it? I don't know how to describe it. She thought that I was chronologically displaced. Like she thought that I was like my moment, like me and my moment of time is like forward and back. I'm not set. She thought that I was, I don't know, wider in my own timeline than my own self, like my awareness. She thought that it was that way. It was really sweet. She was an amazing woman. And, but she thought that I had, something special about me that I was not. I was like my temporal me is a
Mhm.
little bit further and behind. So yeah, yeah.
That's so
So
interesting. Like, you're
yeah,
just constantly, like,
or it
the
is I can
mental
perceive
image
the
of
past
that.
and the future. Like I don't
Yeah.
know, you know. It was very sweet. It was very good. But yeah, she believed that time was not how we perceive time is what we've been taught to perceive time. There's a
Mhm.
linear like time, like we drawn in the high school. We had that map of like timeline. It's like here's a dash that means 1870. Then the next dash
Mhm.
2 feet over is 18, and the next dash is, and there's pictures of people living that way. And she fully
Mhm.
believed that the strength of humans will be when we get to a point where we're not stuck in that. So she
Yeah.
fully thought that I would be. So because of her, every once in a while when I do something, I ask my future self. I literally be like, okay, and because when I have a bad moment, I'll pause and think back to myself. I'll put a picture of myself like Thursday at 3 p.m. I know is this point, and I think about myself at that point in time and try to tell myself not to do something.
Ooh.
And because every once in a while I'll get an odd vibe or something else, and like, I don't know if it's true or not, but she at least changed my perception. And
Mhm.
again, it's just a fun way of thinking. I don't know if it's true. I don't believe it to be true, maybe, but it is. So when I approach a big question in my life, I stop and listen for my future self to be telling me yes or no.
I'm
Like,
obsessed with this. It's like preheating an oven. You're like preheating something. You're
hmm,
like, "Hey, heed this warning from the past, also the future." Like, you are, like, preheating your oven of life.
yeah,
Ready.
listen for yourself. Listen for what the because, like, she was really sweet. She was a very wonderful woman. She had, and I just really was caught off guard. And she would describe it to a, and like again, I'm giving you a very
Mhm.
probably not exactly right definition of how she did it. And she was captivating in how she would describe time. She was a person I wish was went to school and could like give a presentation on it. She was phenomenal.
Mhm.
But
Very
yeah, so
cool.
she was fully thought that time was not how I perceive it as a fluid state that if in the right mindset you can do it. You can like leap forward or hear yourself or
Yeah.
but
It's
it's just
definitely a
training.
social construct, like, we have decided what time is,
Hmm.
and for people, I'm gonna lump you in with me, for people like us that are not good at time management always, no offense, this is a compliment, I think. We're just more evolved, we don't live by the stopwatch. Being late or being early, like, that's, like, not I don't know, not a thing for a lot of people, I
Hmm.
think, and people get so bent out of shape if you are late for something, and
Oh, I get it.
I feel so bad being late, but at the same time, like, what's 10 minutes, you know what I mean, here or there? It's like, it's just such a social construct, like, who
Hmm.
who decided that right now in this minute, it is 9:27 PM?
Yeah, it's
Bored.
been yeah, and the crazy thing is, it actually is great. We had discussion this a little bit on one of the other shows I was on. Like I said, 9:27. Everyone has 9:27 for a time zone. Well, the guy at the front end of 9:27 and the other end of the time zone is seeing a vastly different
Mhm.
time at 9:27. So we just decided at some point this is how rough the break is. Like you and I are in different time zones right now,
Right.
but where you are versus me, it's like vastly, But like what's the example? I had a factoid. One of the guests I had on the show showed how crazy that there is only an hour difference time between the very edge of Florida Panhandle
Mhm.
and Portland, Oregon, because of how far over one of the counties in or one of the counties in Oregon is actually on not western, central, and the furthest county in Florida is on central. So it's only an hour difference, yet it's on the other side of the country.
It's
So
nonsense, it's all made up.
mhm.
Like, I
Yeah,
get
yeah,
why we have time zones 'cause of, like, the sunrise and shit, but, like, it's just so silly to say that this exact minute for me is 9:28 PM, this exact minute for you is 9:28 I'm sorry, 10:28 PM,
mhm,
but we're speaking right now to each other.
mhm.
We're experiencing the same time, in my opinion. You're not in the future.
Yeah, yeah, it's, but the crazy thing is once you get into physics, time is even weirder. Like,
Mhm.
if, we just happen to be at the right time right now because our planet has a certain type of mass. But if you were zigging past, something that's higher, a larger mass system, time is even more different for you.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a perception. It's really kind of crazy what happens in these, universes and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Like,
yeah, then that's the thing. There's actually, have you seen the movie? We're talking about movies and TVs. We'll
mhm,
tie this way.
mhm.
Was it not Contact? It's the Arrival. Have you seen Arrival?
I
The
have, yeah, with A is it Amy Adams?
Yeah, Amy Adams.
Yeah, yeah,
So
very much.
Arrival is based on a very, very short story. Like it's like
Really?
yeah, it's like 10 pages. It's Huang. It's a Hueng. Huang. I think the guy's last name is.
Okay.
If you get a chance, check it out. They took it off. It was be able to read it online, no problem. It was one of my favorite ones, and it's not much. There's no like Air Force fighting. There's nothing else in there. It's just creatures showing up that the guy was very much trying to understand how mathematics and thought processes are on different aliens.
Mhm.
So the aliens in the movie, you can see they're big, tall, they're heptapods. That means, and the
Mhm.
reason it's so special is that there's no symmetry on their body. And the movie doesn't touch base too much on this. In
Yeah.
the short story, it does, that it's a creature that has no, and the food they actually even eat in the storyline. They take and they put something in their mouth and whatever it is. So there's a creature that walks in the door and out the door the exact same way. There's no forward or back. And the
Really?
whole short story is on what is a creature that knows no forward and back. There's no line of symmetry. There's nothing that is based on how does a creature with no line of symmetry evolve concept of time if there's no forward or back to themselves. So that's the premise of the short story that became the movie, is that a creature that is septa. So it's 7 sides. There's no uniform. There's no symmetry. Like we have a left and right symmetry, 1 and 2. They
Right.
have 7, and their whole species evolved not understanding that there is a forward or back because all directions work in all directions. So the septopods in the short story evolve a concept of time with no forward or back because they don't understand a forward or back. There's no front. Like if you and I walk forward, we walk one way and our back's behind us. Well, their back and front is the exact same thing. There's no, in all directions, they're the exact same creature. So the
I
short
love
story,
that.
yeah.
I
So it's a great short story, and
yeah,
it's actually
I found the name of it. It's called Story of Your Life by Ted Chiang.
Chang. That's it. Yeah, Ted Chang.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, story of your life. Worth it. It's a short read. I mean, literally, you can bang it out. It's a short, like 12, 14 pages at best, I think. So
Mhm.
yeah, and it's kind of dry because it's talking about the um it's actually the whole point of it is on the study of math and how light moves, which is
Oh.
crazy to think about because light particles move in the exact most efficient path possible. And
Mhm.
how it moves, it doesn't deviate from direct way. It should be there, So the whole study, the short story is on the efficiency of how the universe works and how time must work for something that doesn't have a forward or back. So
Amazing.
yeah,
I love that. I love that so much. That's
nice.
that's so cool. I'm gonna read that immediately after we sign off here.
Yeah, it's a little dry, but it's fun, and then you can understand the movie a bit more.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's not a lot of action sequences, and the aliens aren't as dramatic. They just show up.
Mhm.
They're everywhere across the planet. There's a whole bunch of them show up, and
Mhm.
they just kind of do stuff and leave. So it's pretty darn cool. So
There's a lot of stories, like, we do a lot of research on a lot of different topics
mhm.
on my show, and we have gotten how many episodes do we have? We gotta have way over 200. I don't even know. No one knows. A 2
No.
189? Okay. Um, we talk about so many different things, and we'll start talking about, like, I don't know, some ancient civilization, like, doing something, whatever. And then it deviates into how they saw aliens, and we know that because of, like, the drawings that they've left behind or the stories that they've left behind of star people or
Mhm.
whatever. And that story will replicate over so many different societies and so many different timelines, and the similarities are so similar. I mean, you were talking about Easter Island and how it's just, like, this little tiny island in the middle of basically nowhere.
Mhm.
They'll see the same thing that someone in what is now modern day Hungary sees.
Yeah,
It's
we have like winged
amazing.
people on rock walls that on the other side of the planet from each other. There's
Yes,
creatures that seem to be uniformly across the carved planet.
yes,
So
a Bigfoot, a Yeti, a Sasquatch, a skunk ape, it exists every single place,
mhm,
and things like that are so deeply interesting to me. It's that crossover of history, real unhinged history, and just this weird esoteric nonsense that we all choose to believe or not believe. And
mhm.
that is the most beautiful combination of anything ever. And it's also kind of funny because it's like, I don't know. We deny all these things or say like, I want to believe, but people have believed forever. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't know where I was even going with that, but that's what I
Oh,
wanted
it's
to
beautiful.
say.
People thought that's saying I mean, no one knows. That's the thing, and that's why reason I love having the show because I want to pick people's brains. I don't know what's going on this planet, but I want to
Yeah.
hear everyone's stories. And the more I learn, and the more random facts I know, and the more I hear from other people, I start to be
Mhm.
able to fill those gaps in the middle that
Mm.
I don't know with a little bit more confidence. It may not be clarity, but a little bit more confidence and understanding of a little bit, what's happening on this planet and stuff. So,
Yeah. Can I ask you a question about beliefs?
as much as you want, go ahead.
Okay. Do you believe in washing your fruits and vegetables?
With an apple, actually, you can just do it in your shirt. It's the only food you can clean on a shirt. So that's
Yeah,
the
for
thing
sure.
that way. You can't do it with a ham sandwich. I mean, I try, but it
Yeah,
never gets it clean. But
yeah,
yeah, so I I do wash some of my fruits and vegetables
okay.
now just because I have seen what people spray on things for shipping.
Oh, yeah.
So I've seen
Mhm.
that before. Yeah. But I do wash some of my stuff. Again, I try the shirt technique on some things.
Yeah,
Banana works okay, but doesn't really do a whole lot.
you could get, like,
Uh,
a grape, like a little
yeah.
really
Cherries work too. Large
don't
cherries.
try a raspberry. Don't. This is gonna
Oh
make a
no,
mess, please.
no. It looks like a murder scene happened, and that just causes more chaos when I get pulled over later. So
What a
yeah.
waste of a berry.
Yes, exactly. How about you? Do you wash? Are you washing your fruits?
Some of them,
Mhm,
honestly. I am a very firm believer in washing all lettuces because E. coli seems terrible.
mhm.
I don't know her, and I'm not interested in knowing her. No, thank you. That's a big no thank you for me. But, like,
I
a
agree.
grape,
Lettuce definitely
I'll
wash.
pop a grape right in there. Who cares? Let's go. Grape's got dirt on it? That seems good for me somehow.
If a grape looks dirty to me, then I'll maybe rinse something off. But I guess grapes are something that I just hope for the best. I just open up the container and just keep going at them. So
What's the worst that could happen?
I mean, death. But hey, it's worth it. It's a grape, right?
You
I mean,
don't have
that's a
to
good
pay
trade off for my existence.
taxes. If you're dead, you don't have to pay taxes.
Oh,
So,
that's
like,
true.
let's go. Let's fucking go.
True. And actually, you're talking about lettuce. I actually got to have her on the show again. I had Carter Burwell. She's a
Mhm,
artist here, Angie. She university professor. She's amazing chef. Something else, but she showed me a picture once where she was working on and had got lettuce from the store and opened it up and there was like things living in it still. And she's like,
mhm.
"Wash your lettuce." And I was like, and she sent me a picture of it, and I cannot tell you how much that has changed the trajectory of me when I eat lettuce now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I've found many bugs in my lettuce.
I mean, I go for protein, but no, I don't need
Oh,
to have that. So
like, they're just little guys trying to live their lives. They're just living in a house made of food.
yeah, it's their own fault for living in a house. That's right. I have to be careful of gingerbread. I don't eat gingerbread people too because they're living in a house made of food as well.
No.
Mm. So I would do one question that came up that I really love.
Oh,
This came from Kim. Is what's your experience with lucid dreaming?
oh, okay. Um, it's so fun. So, I feel like you and I have definitely talked about this.
Hmm.
Yeah, 100%. So, have I told you about the barn? Yeah.
Tell my audience has not heard about this, so
No, but
please.
you I have.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, right, I'm sorry, I forgot this is a podcast. Okay. Hi, everyone listening right now. I remembered you were here. No, I'm just not having a conversation with Magnus. Okay. So, I have some friends that will do this with me too, and we try to meet in a place that
Mhm.
we believe is, like, on the astral plane,
Nice.
and I call it the barn because that's what it looks like to me. And, like, sometimes they'll say they see it and stuff, and I think that that's really fun, but we've never, like, met up in person.
Hmm.
But I definitely think that lucid dreaming is real. I think that you can control your dreams, absolutely. Like, that's just like a little video game playing in your head.
Hmm.
That's a simulation within the simulation.
Yeah. But that's the question going to be. If you believe in a simulation, does dreams mean that we're just like, is that our next step, next level in our simulation, the level in a level, or is
Yeah,
that outside the simulation? Do you believe that could be something that's happening beyond the machine
maybe.
here yourself?
Oh, that's kinda fun.
Mm,
Maybe, maybe. I like to think that it's a my little player is, she's playing a little simulation, when she's sleeping. I don't know why it's always, like, in a high school and, like, I'm not wearing any pants and I'm embarrassed, but, if that's the simulation she wants to play, go for it, girlfriend. Whatever
mm.
makes you happy. So, yeah, I definitely think that lucid dreaming is very cool, and I think that it's very real, and I think that this is another thing that you can probably teach yourself how to do.
I believe so as well. I
Yeah.
think. And have you experienced something you would call lucid dreaming, where you like right now being aware is like you realize you're dreaming? Have you done that before?
Yes, all the time. I have a ton of nightmares,
Oh
which I've
man.
had my whole life, and sometimes something so just ridiculous will happen in the dream that I say out loud, like, "This isn't real. I'm definitely dreaming," and it will
Mhm.
pull me out immediately.
Oh, that the next question I'm gonna ask is, do you stay in it? Like when I have a lucid dream, the moment I become lucid in the dream, it's like an elastic band is pulling me right out of the dream.
Yep.
It's hard for me to hold on to it because the moment I become
Mhm.
aware of it, I'm like, well, if I'm dreaming, and I have a brief window of being able to do something, and then it's like literally being yanked, just gone out of
Yeah,
it.
rubber band is such a good analogy 'cause that's what it feels like. You just get, like, yoinked right out, like, just like
Hmm.
zoop, like ejector seat out of the dream. Boom.
Hmm.
So, I would be very impressed if someone can stay in the dream and kind of, like, really maneuver around in there, that would be pretty cool.
Now, here's something that I happened talking about lucid dreaming,
Mhm.
probably a month or so, give or take. I was in I was having a dream, something else, and I became fully aware that I was in a
Mhm.
dream. Like right now, how aware I am right now. This is how aware I was. Like I was in a dream. Be like, oh my god, I'm in a dream right now. This is crazy. So I'm trying to process it, and as I'm having this dream happen, uh, a dog at the house barks and wakes me up from a dream, and it started. I like literally snapped right out of a dream,
Yeah.
and it made me think of something that I never thought of before. Is
Mm.
that how many times you forget you've dreamt? I was
Mhm.
curious how many times a week or a year, whatever it is, that am I actually lucid in a dream, but I don't remember it
Oh.
in the morning. Like it hit me that I was fully aware that I was in a dream. I was fully in a dream state and I was trying to do something, and the dog barking
Mhm.
snapped me out of it. And I was like, how many times am I like lucidly trapped in a dream state that I'm aware of that I will
Yeah.
never process, never remember? When I wake up in the morning, it just flitters away.
That's such a cool thought because I feel like that happens so often.
Mhm.
Like, I wake up and I know that I had a dream, and I'm trying so hard to remember what it was.
And it's just the more you think about it, it's like racing away from you. It's just slowly fading off into things. Because I'm trying to get a habit of writing them down or recording them when I wake up. Is my next thing because I've had some pretty amazing
Mhm.
dreams that connect here and there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've so it in for instance, I had a dream. It's actually funny. I've been prepping for one of the shows. I had a guest coming on,
Mhm.
and in the dream, suddenly I'm looking out the window, and how I this is how I work pretty well for figuring out if I'm a lucid dream. Is in my dreams, I try to look as far as I can in the distance, and
Oh.
so when I look as far as I can the horizon line.
Uh-huh.
My dream state can't build a universe fast enough sometimes, and I
Cool.
will notice something's weird in the distance, and I'll become instantly aware that I'm dreaming. So in this instance, I'm standing in the kitchen of a house.
Uh-huh.
The guest I was having on the show, he was sitting. He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm writing my next book." I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." I'm trying to talk about it. I'm looking out the window, and I realize in the very far distance there's houses, but all the houses are the exact same house, and they're
Mm.
not right. And
Mhm.
as aware I am now, I'm like, something's wrong with those houses. He's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Shit, I'm dreaming right now. I'm in a dream state." And I look over, I'm like, listen, I'm dreaming right now. And in the dream, I couldn't tell if he was a dreamer or not as well. But I'm
Mhm.
like, let me ask me any question. I need to ask him a question and see if I can get an answer out of him beyond the scale of what I may do. And the
Yeah.
moment I started processing it, I started being like, and the
Oh,
dream started changing. I suddenly the room changed, and I was standing out in a cornfield.
yeah.
And the guy I was with suddenly became like the scarecrow of the setting. And I was like, oh, I'm already losing the dream. I felt myself falling back into that dream. And but it was very much jarring sort of thing of being like, okay, dream. That's so how I find myself now is I look out a door or a window and a distance. Like
That's so
I was
cool.
at my parents' house once, open the door and there's an ocean in the front of my parents' house, and I know there's no ocean in the front of my parents' house. So I was like, I'm dreaming. So I have like a quick moment to do whatever I want in the dream. So I was like, I can like look at naked women or fly. So I flew, which is good
Uh,
choice for me, I guess. Getting better in my age. So
that's very, like, giving Beetlejuice opening the door and it just being an ocean.
hmm
Yeah,
hmm
I love that.
very much. So
That's
yeah,
so
I
cool.
process it. So yeah, friends of mine when they do lucid dreaming, they try to
Um,
remember. They have certain tells for it. Like they look for the moon because the moon will be right. Some people
mm,
tell like read a book if you can, but I don't know if that really matters to me because in my dream I know I'm reading a book, but I'm not really reading a book. I don't know
yeah, I
how that
can't, like,
like
see I don't know if I can see words in my dreams, actually.
supposedly not be able to, but I know I have seen things. But again, it's just my brain telling me I'm reading it versus I'm actually seeing it or not. So
Yeah. Do you
yeah.
ever ask if you have a dream with someone in it, do you ever ask them if they, like, had a dream similar to it?
I've messaged people that have like, "Hey, you were a cameo in my dream,"
Mhm.
and a few people have like them. We've never had it being like, "Yeah, you were there too," because I want to. Like I said, the
Yeah.
barn. I would love to meet you in the barn. I'll gladly try to find you that way.
Let's fucking do
Um,
it. Come haunt me in my dreams. Let's go.
I'll
Let's go.
try. I'm trying. I got to figure out how to do it. And so I
Yeah.
said I think there's an aspect of that's where I think the dreaming state and the subconscious and the unconscious has a
Mhm.
connection to things that I think that the live state doesn't understand. And they're awake state, not alive, but awake state. So, but yeah. So it's been interesting. And one of the weirdest things that happened to me with dreaming is once I have a VR headset that I do stuff in. I'm trying to do like VR, like 3D modeling in VR. Also play some
Oh,
games in
wow.
VR. But
But
this is
doesn't
the
it hurt
weirdest
your
thing.
eyes? It hurts my eyes so much. Gives me, like,
Oh
motion
man.
sickness.
But once it bothers some people. Me, I got the hang of it pretty good. Like now, actually, I work out and do VR games against people during the day.
Wow.
Yeah, I do like VR boxing. It helps me, do stuff that way. So,
Okay.
um, yeah, so it helps. I got big shoulders. I got to work them out so much. So, uh, yeah, so I do VR stuff. But the crazy thing about VR is after I started playing VR, within the first week or two, my dreams changed. My
No.
Yeah, the how I perceived my dreaming state while in the dream, I now thought that there was something else beyond it. Like the first time I had this, I was
Mm,
trying to force myself through the dream wall, like
mm,
physically. I felt that there was a wall there, and I was physically trying to put myself through the next step of dreaming. So once I started having a brain that encountered virtual reality, which is different
mm.
than reality here, it changed how my dreams are.
That is
So,
so interesting.
mhm.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so
Sometimes sorry, that, like, blew my mind. That's like Inception, like, style, like, you can, like, go okay, so I wonder if you ever, like, see, like, the ocean outside the front door, I wonder if, like, your brain will start to think, "Oh, this is probably just VR," or something, like, it's
never
gonna, like,
know. I
change.
I do think that there's a part that I question things more because my body's now experienced reality that's not my reality in the
Mhm.
waking life.
Yeah.
So maybe I do more like a bit more of that sort of understanding of lucid dreaming because my brain has more practice being in an altered state that is
Mhm.
not, drug related or something else.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I definitely will say that it has been something interesting encountering it that way. So,
That's really
but yeah,
cool.
I want to
Some
thank that was I think it was Kim that she messaged. She wanted to know if you like. She's very much into lucid dreaming. She
okay.
asked a bunch of my guests that way, and I mentioned this, and she's like, "Oh my god, ask her about lucid dreaming. Does she do it? She wants to be a
Yeah.
friend with you if you're a lucid dreamer." So,
Okay, well, let's be friends anyways, Kim, and also I wanna hear, her lucid dream stories and how she does it, so
well, she probably will. She probably I'll point her at your Patreon to be a backer and stuff. She's an amazing
okay,
woman. So,
perfect.
but so we've been on this for about an hour and a half right now, and I don't want to keep you too late because I mean you have to go ride your horse or something at some point. So, yeah. You're also a lovely horse person, by the way. If people, any of my listeners who enjoy horses, you will see one of the most beautiful painted horses I've ever seen.
Stop.
Is Oh my god, that's Robin is. Like, I love that. Like I love seeing pictures of that horse. I know. I
My
grew up.
gigantic son.
My mentor was a horsewoman, and we had like retired race horses on our farm. So I grew up around. Never rode a whole lot of horses because I'm a very big guy. Like I
Yeah.
told people, if you ever rescued a Shire, one of those big huge horses, I ride that around because I
Yeah,
feel like it'd be unfortunate for a horse to have held me around. So
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
So
thank you. My gigantic son says thank you. So,
yeah. So follow her for also horse related content. My God, she's amazing.
I
Um,
contain multitudes, ghosts,
you
horses.
do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I also would love to do one more thing. Will you be
Mhm.
willing to do a tarot reading
Oh,
for
sure.
what our future may hold? And I don't even know what our intention should be because I don't know what
Mhm.
questions I should ask. That's the thing
Okay.
with me. I don't even
For
know.
for sure, for sure. So I have 2 decks here. One is my all-time favorite deck of all time, and I if you choose this one, I'll shout out the artist because 'cause I'm in just she's a incredible human being. And then I have another one that's an oracle deck. So we can do either one. Do you
Well,
wanna do
I like hearing when you're excited, and I also love sharing artwork about someone. So I'd love to give a shout out because I'll even tag them in the comments in the bottom of this if people like, So please, what is
I
the artist one?
I'm obsessed with her. Okay, so it's this Halloween tarot deck, I'll show you.
Yes,
It's the prettiest deck ever. It was created by Kipling West, also very cool name, like, she what a baddie she is.
nice.
Um,
Kipling West.
Kipling West, amazing. If you follow her on Instagram, which I do, she posts some very, very cool art. I
Nice.
I'm absolutely obsessed. The Fool card she pointed out to me in this deck is actually modeled after John Wayne Gacy, which is our unfortunate hometown murderer here in my hometown. So I
Ours is
really
Arthur Shawcross, by the way. That's our hometown murder. Rochester has that's our serial killer, Arthur Shawcross. So his house was like a handful of miles from here. So
it's Gacy's house was a handful of miles from here, so that's
we
great.
got our own things. That's what we pair well.
Look at us, we have so much in common. Just that's
So Kipling West made a tarot deck.
yes, sir. Okay, so I was shuffling the deck earlier, and I just wanna point out that I had the thought that 2025 is for lovers, whether
Mhm,
that's a partner, whether that's self-love, because that's so important,
mhm,
and, anything, and I ended up pulling the 2 of ghosts, which this okay, so it's the 2 of cups, but ghosts are the cup version, so everything's kind of like Halloween stylized.
mhm.
And the 2 of cups is what I pulled, which is the Lover's card, which I thought was sort of fun.
So sweet, and it's a very adorable illustration. My God, for the
They're
best
so
illustration.
cute. Oh my gosh, the story behind this deck, I was in Salem, Massachusetts, first time. It was on Halloween. It was, like, the height of the pandemic, but I had already booked the tickets. I was like, "Whatever, I'll just wear, like, a mask," right? And
Mhm.
all the stores were open, so, like, me and it was actually Nicole and I, and we were going in and out of shops, and I had seen this deck, and there was only one of them in this store, and I bought it. So this is my
Mhm.
very first tarot deck. I bought it on Halloween in Salem, Massachusetts, and it's just the cutest little deck, and I'm obsessed with it.
There's a lot of magic right there. There's a lot of power in that deck.
That's sort of fun. So, okay, so what questions should we ask here?
Oh, so but probably I want to know what our next year is going to be, and I can't tell. I don't want to be. I don't want to be selfish for myself. That's the thing. You know me. I'm not a selfish person, but I'm
Okay.
generally curious on what our future holds. So I can't tell if I should ask for the intention. I'd rather the intention for everyone. I mean, like the Might of Magnus, whatever. I can get my own self reading later on. I'm trying to something that the audience. We need to have
Okay.
our whatever our. I don't know. What's our question we should ask? What do you
Let's
feel?
just do a vi you would just do, like, a vibe check?
Perfect. I
Like,
love it.
what's the vibes?
What's
Like,
our 2025 vibe?
yeah, I've been being very hopeful and saying in 2025, "Maybe we thrive, please?"
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good
Yeah,
rhyming. Always helps the universe make stuff happen.
we love a rhyme. Okay,
Manifestation loves rhyming patterns. You didn't know this.
let's go. Okay, can you pick 1 or 2?
2.
2, okay, okay. Oh, I got the Page of Cups. Let's see what we're saying here.
The cool thing is I make trim this part out, so we'll say the ace of the cups, and then we'll cut to the thing. So take your time and figure whatever you want to have on there. So
Okay, thank you.
of course, I always make my guests sound amazing. I can't help myself at all, but I'll make everyone else sound fucking great.
Okay, so this is lovely. So I have the Page of Cups. I'll show you this, Meg.
Mhm.
It's the Page of Ghosts. He's so cute. Look at this guy. I don't know if you can see it's
Aw,
kinda
that's
a
really
little
cute. My gosh, so those thing, it's a very magical looking person here. What does he have next to him? The
he
person?
has there's a little ghost. He's got
Okay,
a little ghost next to him, there's a little cat. He's
the
holding a
cat.
chalice with a fish bone in it.
Gotcha.
So when you read a tarot card, you look at the actual images on the card. They all have meanings. So the Page of Cups, this is a man, he's wearing a tunic and he has a it has like a floral print on it, and he's wearing some sort of hat. He's holding a cup with a fish popping out of the cup, and the fish represents water, which has to do with creativity,
Mm,
intuition, feelings, emotions, all the touchy-feelies, and the cup basically means, like, he's capturing it. So the Page of Cups upright, which is how I pulled it, suggests that a new idea or opportunity will be coming out of the blue. So creative energy will be flowing. Um, just kind of be open to anything. Anything creative that comes your way, trap it in your cup, trap it like that little fish in the cup and sip from it all year long and kind of explore this new part of you, this part that's I mean, we talked about creativity a little bit earlier, so I kind of feel like
mhm.
this is a fun little tie-in, totally
I
accidental.
agree. My gosh.
Maybe we
Perfect.
foster creativity in 2025.
I am down for that. I
Yeah,
definitely am all down for that one.
let's
So
fucking go. So 2025, year of the lovers, love yourself, love your people, love your planet, and be creative about it. Let's go.
perfect read. My God. Well,
Yeah.
Noelle, this has been amazing. I want to let you go because I know it's getting late, but I want to have people know where can they find you, where can they listen to you, what social medias you're on, and also we got to remind you where we can have these fun events you're going to be attending. So, where can we
Okay.
find you first?
So you can if you just type in "Quite Unusual" into your search engine, it will come up with us, Quite Unusual Podcast. We are on every social media under Quite Unusual Pod. That's how you can find our Patreon, that's how you can find all of our social medias. We're on every single one you could ever think of because all of our brains are rotting. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on, Twitter, which I refuse to call the other thing.
Same.
We're on Blue Sky now, we're on j anything and everything. We are there, so you can find us. I personally, am tagged. If you wanna be friends, we can do that too. I'm just usually No Kruppa, that's my name, and you can find us there. We are doing, right now confirmed, the coolest Parafest in the entire world. That's Windy City Parafest. That is going to be in Chicago, the windiest of all the cities.
Mhm.
From June 12th to the 15th, you can come hang out with us at Paranormal Prom. It's going to be '80s themed, so Please keep on theme. We love a little theme moment. We love a
Always
theme.
stay on theme. Give it an option. Be the person on theme. Don't be the person not on theme.
That's
Yeah.
right, and just, like, have fun with it, whatever, let's
Lean
get
into
weird.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
get weird with it for sure. So we will be there that entire weekend, and yeah,
You'll have a booth
otherwise
there? We're gonna have a booth to chat with people?
we'll have a booth, we're going to be on a panel, I believe we're doing a live episode
Oh my gosh, that's
or a
biggie.
lecture of some sort. I don't know, we'll scream in your faces about ghosts, I promise. So you'll get plenty of that, and then, if you just, I don't know, scream my name into the ether, maybe I'll hear you in a dream, and we can be besties on the astral plane.
That sounds magical to me. My God. Well, Noelle, thank you for being here. I really honored to have you on. I've loved your show. You guys have kept me company on so many nights working on stuff late here quietly in the studio. You guys have been my voice in my ear, telling me the randomest, weirdest stuff at a deep dive that I truly love. So if you guys are a fan of the best sort of rambles with the coolest content, definitely follow Quite Unusual Podcast. I can't stress it enough. It's one of my favorite shows. And we'll probably have Noelle on again. I want to have more chats with her. This could easily have gone a lot longer, and I've been restraining myself not to keep going down these long paths of conversations. So, Noelle, thank you so much for being here. If you guys have questions for Noelle, message her on those social medias. If you want to message me directly, I'll pass it along to her.
Mhm.
I want to thank all the Patreon folks who sent in some questions. She actually answered a handful of questions without me asking them. So if I didn't ask your question, is because she already asked that question there, so answered it. So thank you so much, Noelle, for being here, and I
Thank
will
you.
find you online and hopefully in a dream state soon.
Yes, thanks so much, Meg.
Awesome. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, that's right. You do your buy thing. I love it. So perfect. Thank you so much for that one. That's awesome. So now we do is I'll do the same recording here, but I'm gonna do a second show, and in our timeline, a week has elapsed, and I will talk about last week's show, how great it was, how anything else. Um, and this is our factoid show. It's a very short show. It's not long. It's literally just like and I'll do an opening because I'll give I have a hotline that people leave factoids for, which has been one
Oh,
of my favorite things. Oh yeah, it's been great. People text and email me factoids, and I'll do a whole factoid show. So I may do either a short show with you or put a whole big long factoid show together, which I don't know. I'll debate depending on how the thing goes. So yeah, I'll do another opening for this one, and I'll do a bit meshing the hotline, because I literally get voicemails and texts and facts sent to me all week. It's one of my favorite things, randomest stuff.
oh.
I have a couple people that literally give factoids, that call in bizarre ones. Every
Mhm.
week I get a new one from a couple of people here that I love. I told, like, I like him that he calls in. He's part of the show almost now, but I like him calling in on the phone sound. I want to have that sound of a phone call coming in that way, so but yeah, so I'll do another quick little episode, maybe 5-10 minutes, whatever it goes. I mean, I'm down. If you want to hang around longer, you're more welcome. Keep talking, whatever it is. I tend to do a little shorter show because I feel like it's kind of a fun. It's not a heavy load. Like, this is a bigger show. Next week's a shorter show, kind of because of callback to it.
Mhm.
So, but yeah. So I'll do another one. 1 second. Let me get my factoid was sitting here. Let me have it armed.
And I have
Um,
no plans, so we can do, however many of these you want, we can do for however long you want, you're in control, you let me know.
oh, wow. That's amazing. My God. And so thank you. This has been a very fun conversation. Like I said, I forgot if it wasn't for the fact I was in front of a microphone, I probably would have forgot I was talking to you, like
I
a radio
literally
show.
did,
So,
like, I'm so sorry, I was like, "Hey, remember that one time we were talking about," and you're like,
oh,
"Our listeners didn't
oh
know that."
no, I find that endearing. Actually, I love that you did it. I actually was like, because I had a person, we had a guest on one time, who was talking away, and he did the same thing. He was like, well, we talked about this before, like before we started recording. And I watched his face. He goes, oh my God, we're on
I'm
a
glad.
show. And I was like, yeah, we have been for about an hour and a half. He's like, I forgot this was happening from like a while ago. I forgot this was
Mhm.
happening. And I was like, no problem, my dude. That's totally fine. So, but yeah, I always find it to be an interesting thing how this happens here. Where did that go? I have a big long list, and at one point I closed it on myself because I'm a dummy. So because I had one that I thought was really awesome for you. Although maybe what did I do with it? Damn. Um, do you know why? Here's the question: do you know why the ghosts are transparent in our storylines? Do you know why we have
I don't know why they're transparent, no.
like why the theme of ghosts are these transparent people? Anything else? I'll give that as a factoid then for you.
No, I don't.
So it's a little longer one. Actually, this came in from a guest, from Dan. So I got to give Dan the thespian. He sends me messages in this way. So it's a bit of a text. Let me read it real quick. Make sure. Yeah, that's a good one. So I'm making sure because I sometimes I copy and paste in. I want to make sure it doesn't have anything like weird or some sort of call out to something else.
Okay, mine is about eating a polar bear. Is that okay?
Sure, sure, sure. Is it about how their liver is going to kill you?
Yeah, have you done that one already?
No, I just know a lot of factoids. That's the reason people do stuff. But please share it along. It's fine. My God. Um, which is good. Maybe we'll get a what's that
Mm.
game? There's a game where you're killing polar bears. It gets advertised. Maybe we'll get an advertising out of there.
Okay,
Uh,
I'm pulling up a new one.
oh no, you'd have to do that. I didn't even force you to do something different. My God.
No, no, no. I think this is actually more fun.
Okay. Ready to go? I'm gonna do a quick little thing, or you let me know.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I want to make sure you're set. I don't want to catch anyone off guard. I enjoy this. I enjoy the sharing of conversations. So last
Yeah,
thing I want
yeah.
to do is everyone feel nervous or stressed out at something else.
No, I'm totally good. I just made my clicky clacks. All right, we're good.
Nice, nice. So hello, folks. Welcome again to another edition of the Mind of Magnus. This is one of my favorite ones. This is my factoid episodes, and we're having our guest on. We had it from last week, Noelle from Quite Unusual Podcast. I hope you guys have followed her and followed her adventures and listened to a whole bunch of those episodes because they are phenomenal. She's a wonderful woman. So I want to thank everyone who messaged in mindofmagnus@gmail.com with their factoids, and those wonderful people who have done the factoid hotline. Those want to call in on that. It's 585-310-2473. You also can text in. I'm going to say once more again, because we had one more person. If you're going to send in a voicemail on the factoid hotline, try not to do it from a moving vehicle because I couldn't hear you very well. And I'm very nervous you're going to get into a car accident. So if you want to wait till you're parked, please do it then. Or if you want to take your phone out and just do a memo recording and text me in or send it the Gmail that way. So, but thanks for everyone who's been sending in my factoids for a Factoid Friday. There's going to be a whole bunch more for next week. I think I may be doing another factoid episode because I got a lot of great ones. So my first full big long factoid one may be full of a lot of you guys fun notes you sent in to me. But Noelle, you have a factoid for the lovely listeners here. What is your factoid for Factoid Friday?
Hello, Magnus. I do have a fun factoid. So you might think this is interesting. It has to do with paint and a very, very, very popular paint color that was invented in 1915. It was called Mummy Brown.
Ooh.
Yeah, you want to take a guess as to why it was called Mummy Brown?
I kind of have some ideas, but I love to have you deliver this message to the listeners here.
Absolutely. So this color actually derives from ground up mummies. That's right. They took human corpses that they stole from Egypt, ground them up, mixed them with some little pastes and things, turned it into a very disgusting looking brown color, and sold it all over Victorian England. It was one of the most popular colors for a very long time
And
until
they
they
name it
actually
that too, which is amazing. They didn't call it like, Stevens Brown. It's like Mummy
oh,
Brown. Is
they
this what it's made
leaned
of?
oh, yeah. They
Right
were
on Front Street.
leaning into it. Absolutely. And the reason they stopped making it was actually because they ran out of mummies.
It wasn't for moral quandaries. It's just supply ran out. It's all it is. Sorry. We just ran out of the mummies.
That's right.
It's amazing how much usage mummies had in the past. Like the mummies were used because there was no trees and we had steam engines going across. Mummies were the fuel source for trains going across from Egypt back to Europe. It was
Mhm.
used. It's stacks of people would just toss chunks into the steam engine. There's so many mummies floating around. Let's just use them. My God.
Absolutely. There was actually a medication called Mummia, which was just ground up paste of mummies, and people would ingest it for various health reasons.
Oh my God.
So,
Oh my God.
would you call it cannibalism? I don't know. It borders on it for sure.
Yeah. Passive cannibalism. They're
Yeah.
chasing them down.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It was I watched a video a handful of years back on the mummy unwrappings that would happen in Europe. Like the
Yes.
Victorians, they'd
They
have a
had
party.
parties.
Yeah.
Yeah, jinx.
Oh my God. See, that's same mind. That's how great. That's why we'll meet in dream state because we're same mind here.
See
But
there.
I can't envision being like, "Hey, come on over. We got a mummy. We're just gonna unwrap a random mummy." And like I imagine it's like a Kinder egg, right? They were talking about certain ones they would have like they'd have like jewelry or stuff, but a lot of the mummies they had were just poor folk that were kind of left in the desert sands and stuff. So it's kind of wrapped up.
Yeah.
And but it was crazy to see these civilized, quote unquote, civilized people shipping in a body in a box to just unveil.
Yeah, it was big business. There was an actual industry of mummy hunting for, like, these parties, for these usages. So, I just
Okay.
can you imagine throwing a shindig, popping a bottle of champagne, and being like, "What's Todd the farmer look like under all those wrappers?"
Oh my god. Yeah, I just such a quirky component. I mean, I always try to like put in my brain, like maybe it's because there was like, the plague had happened, there's a lot of death, and they're more connected with the death thing, or versus like, no, they're just, chaotic, callous people that don't think of anything beyond. I have no idea what the thought process is. The video in there seemed like it was just more like it's an us versus them sort of thing. Like it's their bodies. We wouldn't do that to our own people here.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
my god,
It
no.
just like a curiosity, and then when they were done with it, they would simply burn the bodies.
That was going to be my question. I didn't know what
Mhm.
would happen. Being like, ugh. Now, where do you burn the bodies? I care. Like, do you have a thing out back? Do you have like a body removal service? You do like a upsell, being like, when you're done with the body, let us know. Tony will come back with a cart and pick it up for you.
Secondhand mummies, pre-unwrapped.
Oh my god, rewrap them. Oh my god, what a perfect business model for sketchy people back in the day.
Oh, can you imagine
Yeah.
regifting a mummy you've already unwrapped?
Oh, I saw this person last week. What's going on here? I recognize that broken nose and missing 4 fingers. Jeez,
No.
no, no. Oh my
Never
god.
I think that's the moral of this story here. Never regift a mummy.
True. That's
Yeah.
another bumper sticker for the show right here. Perfect for it. My God. So you want to hear it's actually, this is another tie-in for 1800s sort of thing. Could ties in well. This
Yep.
comes in from Dan the Thespian and our social media feeds. Thank you, Dan, for this one. But since you're quite unusual podcast, you're talking about ghosts and other cool, fun things. The paranormal true crime podcast that it is. I can't say that without doing something else here. My God. So the story is where we get the concept of a Pepper's ghost illustration and why ghosts are a thing. So when we talk about ghosts in movies, we see these transparent ghosts. Like you think about in Ghost Hunters or
Mhm.
excuse me, in Ghost. I'm gonna pause for 1 second. My brain. There is a sound happening above me. I keep tuning into. There's a heater above me. Do you hear it clicking on me? Do you hear like a
Mm,
noise?
mm-mm.
Okay, there's a windstorm happening here, and there's a fan going ding, 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 ding every once in a while. And
It's
when I
thing.
started giving this fact, it started making a lot of noise, and I can't tell. I'm glad
Sorry,
you can't hear it.
let me
So
let me pull this up, see. Oh, I can hear it actually, if I
now it
turn
just kicked in, right?
yeah.
That's what nothing like an ominous sound of a metal thing rattling.
Yeah.
So it just kicked in again. So that's what I was trying to start with. I'm like, oh, the pepper, like, and all started rattling. So well, I'll try to take it out and post. I'll try. We'll figure out how it is that way. So I'm gonna start again for my factoid.
Okay.
So Noelle, since you have a wonderful paranormal true crime podcast, quite unusual, talking about cool ghosts and stories and cryptids and monsters and stuff that way. When we show ghosts in movies, we see them as a transparent thing. Think of
Mhm.
like Ghostbusters, right? In the library setting, there is that ghost where it's like, shh, quiet in there. Do you know why we have transparent ghosts as our kind of the thing we have here?
I don't.
We got to thank Dan the Thespian for this one of our amazing guests that are followers that send some cool stuff in here. But this came from actually ties in well with our mummy story here. But after the popular 1800 stage magic, there's a thing called Pepper's ghost illusion, which is a projected transparent person using a piece of glass. And it's like on stage, you'd have a piece of glass and you'd have a light from someone off camera, off stage, brightly lit, and it would reflect off the glass. And it's on an angle to the audience. So for them, they can see through the glass, but the way the angle was, you couldn't see anything else but there. So it's called the Pepper's Ghost.
Ooh.
So the Pepper's Ghost illusion came from theatrical movies and plays and stuff that way. So, and people began to describe ghosts that they saw at home being transparent only after the Pepper's Ghost illusion started being happening in 1800s. Before the mid 1800s, ghosts and stories, as well as like true life encounters and all the other stuff he says here, was generally described as solid looking things. So we
Wow.
literally have the point where ghosts become transparent is in 1800s, mid 1800s, the Pepper's ghost illusion becomes prevalent in theaters, and it's a relatively simple thing. And ghost stories were pretty big then too as well. So
Mhm.
prior to that, they might appear out of nowhere and vanish as they did. So in plays, they would literally pop up, or they have like smoke or something else, and the person would be like spooky ghost. So we literally have that during the great advancement in like lighting and projection and photography and all that stage magic.
Mhm.
That is where the technology comes in, where Pepper's ghost starts appearing. And literally from Pepper's ghost appearing and all that stuff, our ghost locks in as a transparent being from 1800s on is thanks to the Pepper's ghost.
That is so interesting. It's almost like a forced, like, mass thought in a
Mhm.
way.
Mhm.
That's
It's a
so
it became a theme. It literally the nation, like the see-through quality, the
Mhm.
intrinsic ghost became that way. It takes hold then. So it's like literally it's a viral cultural phenomenon
Oh
that
my
kicks
gosh,
in. Yeah.
the first viral moment.
One of the viral things that happened for our thing is the Pepper's ghost. So yeah, the phantasmal, translucent being that's ubiquitous for we know now all came from we have a date when it starts
Mhm.
happening and a date when it ends. So,
That
and I have to say right now, first, there, if you guys are listening in, I'm having a windstorm at my studio right now, and there is a thing randomly happening above me that's rattling. So if you hear it, it's not a ghost trying to break in or anything else. It's
it's
not yeah. Woo. Yeah. So it's not that happening. It is literally a windstorm happening. Actually, we had there's a snowstorm happening outside, and actually we had thunder snow happen today, which is a
really,
thunderstorm with snow happening, which you don't hear happen often. So
that's
we
very
have quite
rare.
yeah, it's pretty remarkable in that way. So I want to thank Dan for sending that one in. Dan sent in why we have ghosts, or thanks to the Pepper's ghost illusion. So if you're a Halloween person, you've probably seen it done at houses and a bunch of other stuff as well. It's a great little effect. So
Wow, thanks, Dad. Next time I see a human being on the street, I'm gonna point to them and say, "Are you a ghost?"
you should. You
Because
should. You never know.
apparently they might not be translucent. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's like, damn it. They ghosts for a while are happy, but like, oh, the Peppers ghost. They only think we're transparent now. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah,
We can do, go scratch some people and stuff. What do you need to do now? So,
they
but
got
yeah.
me.
So I think I imagine why Dan the thespian knows it, because based on the name, I think he's a theater guy. So Dan, thank you so much for being a supporter and sending in some random cool facts. So thank you so much for that one. But I want to thank Noelle for being here. You have been a wonderful guest last week and this week. I really got a kick out of Mummy Brown is a
Mm,
thing that is. I may put a link to it in the show notes so people can see what the color is. So,
it's terrible.
but no.
It's terrible color.
So, you guys, quite unusual podcast. You can listen to wherever you get your podcasts from. Noelle, remind people what the social media is for all your we listen to Quite Unusual on. Where
We
can we
are
find
on every single social media in existence under Quite Unusual Pod, and you can find our Patreon under Quite Unusual Pod as well. Like Magna said, you can listen to us anywhere at all. And if you just, I don't know, maybe send up a smoke signal with your address in it, I will mail you a VHS tape of one of our recordings. So you
you?
can figure out how to do that.
We shall do this half and half in that way. That's amazing. Yeah, so it's a great show. You listened last week's show was great. We rambled on for a while about all the cool stuff, and I could talk to her for another 3 hours if I wanted to, and needed to have the time, but I don't want to waste all of our shots here in the first time. We're gonna bring her back in. Maybe we'll have a group chat with some other fun paranormal folks. So also I want to say one thing that you guys do in June. You're having a very awesome event. Remind the audience, if they didn't hear last week, where they can actually hang out with you and possibly dance.
Absolutely. So that is in Chicago, the greatest city ever. No offense to all your other lesser cities. In Chicago, Illinois, it starts on June 12th and it goes through the 16th, I want to say, the 15th. It's called Windy City Paranormal Fest. We will be hosting an 80s themed paranormal prom. We'll be doing a live show. We will be doing a panel. There's tons of very cool speakers there as well. So definitely check that out if you are anywhere around us.
Nice. I'm gonna try. I'm definitely gonna try to make it. I bummed I missed out your Halloween prom. I was really trying to do that. Unfortunately, I had just so much stuff happening here because Halloween's a big time for me. I love my Halloween, but June in Chicago sounds like a magical time. So I definitely want to check this out.
Let's do
Oh
it.
my God. Thank you so much for being here. Follow them. Definitely back them on Patreon. Where do you have a Patreon account too as well?
We
That's
do. Yep. Everything in the whole world is Quite Unusual Pod. If you just Google it or scream it into the world, you'll get out lots of search results for us being every single place in the whole world.
It's worth it. It's a great show. I love it. It kept me so much company over the years. I've listened to you guys, so it's amazing. So, Noelle, thank you for being here, and I want to thank everyone who's been sending in factoids. I super appreciate it. I love expanding my brain and learning new random stuff. It's like Dan, thank you for your factoid today. I have more voicemails coming in, and I will be sharing them next week. So next week we'll have a factoid show with all of your facts sent in. So thank you so much, folks. And Noelle, thank you again for being here. You're a wonderful person, and I love seeing your face. So,
Thank you. My face loves your face.
aw. See you guys.
Bye.
Perfect. My God, I'm going to end the stream and save